Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. I Luffy, Awakened Sun God. Chapter 61. In the face of Lei Ying, who has the power to destroy an island, Luffy intends to use the fourth gear, which is also the first time to use the fourth gear after coming out of the teaching space. However, just as Luffy was about to go into fourth gear, he found Zoro rocketing into the air. This gave Luffy the idea of using fourth gear, and his eyes were locked on Enel. Then, Lei Ying will leave it to you. Now that Zoro has started, he can rest assured and just go and beat Enel. As the black spherical thundercloud was about to fall, and when it was still 500 meters above the ground, Zoro knew that he was going to do it. If you start later, even if you can defeat it, the bombing will affect Angel Island. With a bang, Zoro jumped up, stepped on the air, and kept going up, obviously moonwalk. Zoro moonwalk, just master not long ago. Facing the falling spherical thundercloud bigger than Angel Island, Zoro held the knife in both hands and bit the knife in his mouth. The knives in his hands were wrapped around the pitch-black armament hockey, his eyes were cold, and he chanted. 9 mountains and 8 seas, 1 world. In an instant, everyone on Angel Island raised their heads, and their eyes were all focused on Zoro, who was constantly rising into the sky. Look, someone rushes up. Are you from Qinghai? Do you want to face Lei Ying alone? That's a terrifying miracle that can destroy an island. Is this going to kill the miracle? Believe them. Can only believe, we can't do anything at all. Yeah, in the face of miracles, we are too weak, too powerless. I hope he can do it. I don't know why, but looking at him makes me feel so cool. I can hear the chanting, and I feel even more cool. However, in the face of a black spherical thundercloud that is even bigger than Angel Island, he seems too insignificant. How could he destroy such a huge Lei Ying? Unless he has the strength to cut Angel Island in half with a single knife, otherwise. Cut Angel Island in half with one knife. Is it possible? That's not strength, it's a miracle. For a time, everyone in Angel Island looked at Zoro, who was lifted into the sky. Although they felt that it was impossible in their hearts, at least it gave them a glimmer of hope, and they would not be completely desperate. The ground below the bean sprouts. Ganfor looked up at Zoro, who was getting taller and taller, looking forward to it. I can see the strength of another little brother, can you do it? Ganfor also found it difficult, but the captain of the Straw Hat Pirates, Luffy, surprised him too much. Maybe he could surprise him again, and even shock him. As for Robin, Nami and others, they are relieved and calm. Ganfor was shocked when he found out. Such an expression means absolute trust. In other words, it's really possible. Realizing this, Ganfor stared intently at Zoro. Zoro's chant continued. When 1,000 worlds gather together, they become a small 1,000 worlds. This world is multiplied by 3, and there is no ego incessant. Zoro turned the 2 knives with both hands and danced like a windmill. 3 swords, profound truth. 1 big 3,000 great 1,000 world. Jung. The next moment, Zoro disappeared in a flash, accompanied by the clanging sound of slashing that resounded through the heavens and the earth. Zoro was under the black spherical thundercloud 1 second ago, but the next second, it was already above the thundercloud. And the huge spherical thundercloud is vertically divided into 2 halves from the middle. The slashing raged, whistling, and the clouds in the sky were destroyed. In an instant, everyone on Angel Island, and even the entire Sky Island, people of all races, widened their eyes, opened their mouths, and looked at the scene of the sky in horror. Such a huge spherical thundercloud was actually cut in half. Such a scene, the visual impact, great. Everyone on Sky Island was extremely shocked, with goosebumps all over, and they couldn't help but marvel. 2. Awesome. A miracle is a miracle. It's too strong. It's incredible to cut the huge thundercloud in half with one knife. Clearly facing Lei Ying, the man is so small and the knife is so small, but he can cut Lei Ying in half. This is the same huge meteorite falling. I am afraid it can be done. At this point, Chopper's eyes light up. That's cool. Sanji has to admit that Zoro's knife is really cool. Sanji breathed out the smoke and muttered, "Let you get ahead, I wanted to kick this thundercloud with one kick." Sanji really wanted to do it just now. After all, he heard the screams of terror from the entire Sky Island, especially the fearful voices of girls, crying, which he didn't want to hear. Therefore, it is natural to plan to do it, and by the way, let the angels and beauties of the whole Sky Island see their heroic appearance. At that time, all the women of Sky Island would focus on themselves, and they would be excited to think about it. However, when he was about to jump up, Zoro moved. So, Sanji is a little angry now and steals his limelight. At this time, Gonfure was extremely shocked. Surprised by this sword, Dakion World cut Lei Ying into two halves. I am afraid that if it is replaced by slashing Angel Island can also be cut in half. What a terrifying slash, a really powerful swordsman, this sword is a miracle. 9. Ganfer couldn't help but marvel. With joy on his face, he was relieved, Angel Island was saved, and thousands of people were saved. This knife cut off Lei Ying, cut off the haze on Angel Island, and cut off the miracle. Boom! The roar of terror broke out, naturally because Zoro's knife cut Lei Ying in half, so it exploded in the air. 500 meters, Angel Island can still bear. Zoro at close range naturally has to endure it at close range, launching slash wave, constantly defeating the explosive power. Black rope tornado. The storm whistled, dispelling the power of the Thundercloud explosion. After the bombing, the sky was blue and bright, and everyone on Angel Island couldn't help but close their eyes. The roar dissipated, and after the light got used to it, everyone opened their eyes, excited. Angel Island was fine, they were fine, and Lei Ying completely dissipated. The dark clouds in the sky were also dissipated due to the bombing, and the sky was clear. After seeing Luffy who was walking up the bean vine, he exclaimed, "As expected of you, Zoro." Luffy knew that Zoro could handle it. The people of Angel Island cheered. "Great. Saved. Thank you Qinghai swordsman for saving us. It's not a swordsman, it's a sword god. It's a miracle. You don't have to die, thank you so much, my family is doing well, thank you so much." The people of Sky Island are extremely grateful and have already thought about how to repay. At this point, Ganfer realized a problem, which was the reason for his shock. The Straw Hat Pirates, he has now seen the strength of 3 people. Luffy, Zoro, Chopper. The reason for the shock was because of what Sanji just said. Gonfure looked at Sanji and asked in amazement, "If you did it just now, would you be able to destroy this Lei Ying?" Not only Ganfer was curious, but Nami, Chopper, Usopp, and Robin were also curious to see the past. Sanji just said that he could kick Lei Ying with 1 kick, and they heard it. Zoro slashed Lei Ying with 1 sword, Sanji kicked it out, is it really okay? The Straw Hats now have no idea how strong their respective strengths are and what their limits are. All I know is that after cultivation, everyone is very strong, and it is not clear how strong they are. Seeing this, Sanji enjoyed it very much, took a cigarette, raised his head slightly, breathed out smoke, and said calmly. Sure, Sanji didn't talk big, after all, his strongest kick right now is not the devil's foot. Wow, Sanji, that's amazing. Chopper exclaimed, expecting at the same time, but knew he couldn't see it. Nami, Usopp, Robin are also shocking, so Sanji is also amazing. Gonfure exclaimed in his heart, as I thought, they are all monsters. At this moment, Sanji and the others were startled, while Robin's expression changed. Ah la la, I finally found you. Hearing this voice, Robin first felt familiar. Looking at the sound, Robin's eyes widened and his pupils contracted. Marine Admiral, Aokiji. Now, at this point, Luffy glanced down and noticed a person. Luffy saw it, it was Aokiji. However, Luffy did not go down, because he was about to reach the ark. Whoosh! Luffy jumped up and landed on the ark. Luffy was not worried and believed. Zoro, Sanji, Admiral, I'll leave it to you to deal with it, I'll shoot this guy first. At this time, Enel was still shaking, and his Lei Ying was cut in half by a knife and exploded in the air, but Angel Island was not destroyed. How come? As a god, he was once again shocked. The swordsman, how could he be so strong? He thought it was a miracle to create Lei Ying, but the knife just now was also a miracle. Enel knew that among the Qinghai group, the Straw Hat in front of him was the boss, but he didn't expect the others to be so strong. Enel felt a pity. It's a pity, you are completely qualified to go to the infinite land with me, seeing your performance, as a god, I can even invite you again, will you go? Luffy shook his head decisively, no. This made Enel angry. As a god, he let himself lose in the game before, mocking himself and hurting himself. It stands to reason that, due to his temper, he will not send out 563, for a second invitation. But now, he sent it again and was still rejected. How could he not be angry? Don't think you can beat God. How can a mere rubber man beat Thor? Enel's body was raging with electricity. Although he was beaten by Luffy just now, he was still confident. Since you are here, then, accept the punishment of God. Next, I will be the real Thor. Enel burst out Thunder Fruit ability with all his strength. His whole body was shrouded in blue thunder and lightning. His body suddenly became huge, his hair was raised, and his anger was like a crown. 20 million volts, Thor. Enel entered his strongest form, and the electric current raged throughout his body. But Luffy looked indifferent and didn't care. What about the real Thor? Hearing this, Enel exploded with anger. From the beginning to the present, it has always been like this. He was not afraid at all, and he always looked down on himself. Let me see how you, a rubber man, can beat me, Thor. Luffy's Inran. If I want to ring the golden bell, I will use you as the bell for ringing the bell. These words made Enel's whole body explode like thunder and lightning, and every cell in Chi's whole body was shaking. A bell will be hit with a piece of wood to make the bell sound. This wood is called a bell pestle. There is no golden bell, and the Straw Hat actually wants to use himself as a bell to ring the golden bell. How can this make him not angry? Enel said solemnly, it seems that you believe in the legend that as long as the golden bell rings again, the war will end. Luffy nodded, believe it. Enel was angry and arrogant. I am a god, you are just a rubber man in Paramecia. How can you possibly beat me? God, I will definitely be able to solve you. Looking at the still arrogant Enel, Luffy actually wanted to say, I'm not Paramecia, I'm actually a mythical beast, the sun god. But, of course, if you can't say it, you won't believe it if you say it. After all, it looks like rubber at the moment. Enel punched out, and a huge thunderbolt burst out in an instant. Enel felt that it was impossible for the Straw Hat to dodge, and this attack was like ordinary people facing lightning, and it was impossible to dodge in the face of lightning. When lightning strikes, human beings can only be hit by bad luck. So, I think Luffy can only fight back. However, Luffy closed his eyes, which puzzled Enel. At the same time, he closed his eyes and moved quickly, but he did not completely avoid the terrifying 200 million volt lightning bolt with a diameter of 5 meters and a length of 1 kilometer. The right arm was rubbed, but covered by Luffy armament hockey. The injury to the right hand was not too serious. This made Enel shake. Why did he close his eyes and almost avoided it? Enel felt that it was impossible to dodge, and he would definitely be hit completely, but only his right arm was wiped. Moreover, the right arm is not abolished. How is it possible? This is an attack under the 200 million volts Thor. Luffy shook his head in dissatisfaction. It's still almost, it's okay, go on, fully focused. Luffy still closed his eyes and focused. This made Enel more and more puzzled. Why did he do this? Why not attack? Just close his eyes and wait. Court death. Enel blasted out with both hands, this time 2 terrifying 200 million volt lightning bolts. Luffy is still dodging, but this time it is more difficult because there are 2. Still couldn't escape all, and both sides of the body were rubbed, but the injury was still not serious. This made Enel wonder why this was a 200 million volt attack. Even rubber, even an insulator, would definitely melt in the face of 200 million volt lightning. But why? Why doesn't it melt? Let alone melt, there is no serious injury, it can be said to be skin trauma. This makes Enel doubt life. Is he still using Thunderbolt? However, seeing that the bean vines in the distance were attacked, and instantly turned into a charred nothingness, Enel was convinced that the 200 million volts terrifying lay way. But, why can't it melt the rubber man? Could it be because of that armament hockey? Enel frowned at the darkness covering his skin. Love you lose Injing, because of this armament hockey. Am I really ignorant? No, it is impossible. Even if the defense can be strengthened and Logia hit, it is impossible to withstand 200 million volts. Even if Qinghai is stronger, it can't be too strong, and it's impossible that Master Armament Hockey of Qinghai can withstand my 200 million volts of thunder and lightning. Enel felt that it had nothing to do with armament hockey. The more he thought about it, the more puzzling he became, and even roared and asked. Why can't my 200 million volts of lightning melt you? Even a rubber man can't be okay, why can't it melt you? Looking at Luffy with his eyes closed, God's Enel broke his defense. As a god, I once again asked human beings. Luffy wanted to say, how could the thunder and lightning of the god of thunder melt the god of the sun? But, Luffy prefers to say, because you're not a god. Hateful. Enel continued to attack, but soon found that Luffy was even able to dodge completely. Even before he launched an attack, Luffy seemed to know where he was going to attack and where to attack. This surprised Enel. Why did it shock him so much? Even one wave was stronger than the other. I am a god, how can I be shocked by such a series of times? Even puzzled, I am ignorant. Luffy opened his eyes, happy, almost master. Clearly, Luffy was referring to observation Haki, who foresaw a short-term future. In the original plot, after the battle with Ka-2, the master was initially established, and now, the master is initially. In fact, when I was teaching the space, I got close, and I could see it once or twice. There was no preliminary master, but after coming out, Luffy would continue to practice. In addition to the battle just now, Luffy didn't dodge because he had to continue to grind, practice. Luffy's fists were pitch black, he clenched his fists and slammed into them, and said sternly, okay, I'll hit you now and hit the golden bell. Ah! Enel exploded with anger, roaring incompetently, like crazy. It can be said that he was mad with anger. It's a shame, I just used myself as a sparring partner, so I didn't dodge or attack. You completely angered God. Die. Enel's huge palms blasted out at the same time, terrifying thunder and lightning raged, and with the strongest strike, an even more huge thunder and lightning rushed out. Luffy's right hand bulged, his arm stretched back, and his fist was filled with more terrifying power, turning pitch black, like an elephant leg, giving people a feeling of violent force. Luffy growled, "Rubber Thor." Hearing this, Enel's face changed. Thor looks like a gun. It even carries the word Thor. Enel's face is ugly, why, and more roaring, he can't lose. Thor himself, if he is defeated by this thunder god gun, it will be a shame. Boom. In the next instant, the terrifying thunderbolt collided with Luffy's thunder god gun, one black and one blue. The collision was at the center of the distance between the two, and they were deadlocked. This move can be described as the strongest move in Luffy's third gear. The thunder and lightning were raging, and Enel burst out with the power of Thunder Fruit, wanting to knock back Luffy and make the huge thunder and lightning continue to move forward. But no matter how it erupted, it still couldn't move forward. Instead, Luffy growled, his fists kept moving forward, crushing the lightning. Enel's eyes widened, his pupils contracted, and he felt uneasy. Luffy growled, his teeth clenched, the veins on his face bulging. Without a little pity, what kind of god is 1.9, fall to the altar? Boom, click. Suddenly, the thunder god's spear charged forward, the thunder and lightning continued to collapse, and it completely collapsed in the roar, and the thunder god's spear slammed into Enel's body. The front of Enel's body was sunken, and the pain was extremely, more painful than the grisly gun just now. The internal organs and bones in the body were shattered, and the terrifying force made his body almost explode. What? Enel let out a shrill scream, and his body suddenly flew out at a faster speed. His consciousness was about to dissipate. The last thought before dissipating, God, he was defeated. Enel was ashamed, unwilling, and before his consciousness completely collapsed, he shouted in his heart, I am a god, I actually lost to a rubber man, no. However, Enel would be less broken if it were later learned that Luffy was actually the sun god. But apparently there is no chance. Boom, clang. The sound of the collision sounded, but it was instantly covered up by the resounding bell, which resounded through the heavens and the earth. Enel slammed into the golden bell, spitting out a mouthful of blood mixed with broken internal organs. With the impact, the bell echoed between heaven and earth. Luffy said sternly, Uncle, did you hear that? Golden Land, it exists. Bells reverberate, below Sky Island. Kurikit heard it, looked up at the sky, and looked happy. Not excited, because he believed that it existed, and now, it was verified. Listening to the bell, Kurikate knew that Luffy had done it. They also really understood why such a huge monster appeared with Emperor Cloud. Now it is clear that it is not a monster so huge that it stands above the sky, but someone in the sky. The sun shines on his figure, and then it is mapped to the dents in the fog. That scene appeared. Listening to the resounding golden bell, Kurikate could say that sentence with confidence. The golden land is indeed in the sky. My ancestor Rolando is not a liar. Kurike was grateful. Thank you, Luffy. Listening to the bell, everyone in Sky Island was excited and excited. Great, it's over. Enel is defeated. Sky Island is freed. Thank them so much. The people at Sky Island were so grateful and started raising money, which was the only thing they could do. Because they know that Qinghai people will leave soon, this is just an island for their journey, and they won't stay for a long time, so giving money, supplies, etc. is what they can do. Under the bean sprouts. After hearing Robin's words, Sanji's expressions changed. Marine Admiral. Marine Admiral, they knew it. After all, the teaching space had templates, although they didn't choose them. What Robin said was, Admiral Aokiji. They remember, it is frozen fruit ability. Zoro has landed, staring at Aokiji who is coming. Clang. At this moment, the bell rang, and Robin and the others looked up to the sky. They were all expressions of joy, especially Ganfer. Enel was defeated. Usopp proudly. Luffy, well done. Robin exclaimed. It's really beautiful. Ganford was excited. I knew that this day would come, thank you, little brother Straw Hat. Allah, it was ignored. Aokiji's words let Robin and others return to their senses and stop looking at the sky. After all, Admiral is still here. What is the purpose of coming here? Don't think about it, they are pirates. But Robin blamed himself inwardly, and felt that Admiral even came to Sky Island, perhaps because of his own reasons. Sure enough, I still can't have a companion, or I will be implicated by myself. Although she knew that Luffy and the others were powerful, she knew even more about the terror of Marine Admiral, which was the highest combat power in naval headquarters. Knowing that it was Admiral, Zoro and the others were imposing. Aokiji said in a calm tone, don't be so murderous, although I came here on a mission, I accept that I just want to take a walk. The first time I came here, I wanted to take a walk here even more, here it should be better to sleep. Sanji said solemnly. Marine Admiral came here and appeared in front of us with no intentions, we don't believe it. Zoro said condensedly. I have to be cautious, it is Marine Admiral after all. Zoro has fought against Hawkeye's level, he knows how powerful Hawkeye is, and knows that he still has some gaps with Hawkeye. However, Zoro also knew that Marine Admiral was as powerful as Hawkeye at least, so he had to be cautious. Sanji and the others also understand that it can't be as simple as taking a walk, and they will definitely do it with them. After all, they were so famous during this time, they could have imagined that there would be today, but they didn't expect Marine to move so quickly, and even sent Admiral directly. But, it's not too surprising. After all, not long after they set out to sea, the reputation of the Straw Hat Pirates was too great. Hawkeye's battle with Zoro, Luffy's strength, and the first bounty all shook the world. Luffy's second bounty, a direct 1 billion, shook the world even more. With constant voyages and adventures, the Straw Hat Pirates became more famous and their numbers increased, as the world knew. Although there are not many people, including Robin now, there are 7 people in total, but everyone in the world knows that the Straw Hat Pirates are not in numbers but in strength. Similar to Red Hair Pirates, go the elite route, even more elite route than Red Hair Pirates. Many people know that although the Straw Hat Pirates have just been established and there are now 7 members, they are already extremely powerful pirates and have a great reputation. Such a growth rate and reputation, Marine will naturally attach great importance to them, to kill them, otherwise, in Marine's eyes, the future will inevitably be the same headache as the 4 emperors. Naturally, then, Marine couldn't have made any moves against them. Now this scene, they can predict. Aokiji was helpless, and his voice was a little firmer. Little buddies, although I took the task to arrest you, it doesn't seem easy, as long as you give me a step down and let me take someone away, then I will gone. This made Zoro and the others startled, but they didn't expect to say such a thing. I also have doubts in my heart, take someone away. Who? Zoro and the others found that Aokiji's eyes were locked on Robin. This made them wonder, why? Robin just got on the ship, Marine should not know it, but the main target is Robin. Even if Robin is arrested, is it okay not to arrest them all? Looking at Robin, Aokiji said with emotion, long time no see, you have grown up, Nico Robin. Robin's face became extremely heavy, his heart was tense and uneasy, and he didn't know what to do. Don't want to be taken away, because she still has to do that, she must do it, inherit Ohara's will. However, if they don't go, Marine Admiral will attack Zoro and the others. Robin was so confused that he couldn't help sitting on the ground. Nami was surprised to make Robin so nervous. Sanji comforted, "Miss Robin, don't be afraid, we are there." Usopp asked for confirmation. "Robin, is he really Marine Admiral? He doesn't look the same as I imagined." In Usopp's mind, Marine Admiral should be a very dignified and terrifying existence, but this one looks lazy and peaceful. Aokiji said, "Hey, do you think I don't look like me? How can you judge a person just by appearance?" Wearing a white suit with his hands in his pockets, Aokiji said lazily, "My mission as Marine is to carry out laziness justice." Usopp asked, "Why do you want to take Robin?" Although it was Marine Admiral, Usopp made himself brave. Sanji said, "No matter why, don't know." Aokiji was not in a hurry, sat down with his knees crossed, and started talking. "Standing a little tired, sit down and tell you. Nico Robin, her bounty, 80 million Bailey." Hearing this, Usopp and the others were surprised. Although they couldn't compare to Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji, they were still amazing. However, Aokiji continued, "The amount of the bounty not only shows the level of strength, but also the size of the threat to the world government. Because you became a prisoner of 79 million Bailey's bounty when you were 8 years old." Hearing this, Usopp and the others were even more astonished, at the age of 8. What Aokiji meant was that it wasn't because of strength, so what kind of threat was it? Let the world government directly offer the first bounty to 8-year-old Robin, 79 million Baileys. Aokiji continued, "Although he is a child, he has become smarter. Betrayal, fleeing, flattering, and taking advantage of people. Relying on clever minds to survive in the dark society until now, this time, your chosen hiding place is this group of people." Aokiji smiled. "It's a good choice. After all, it's a rookie pirate group that has become famous recently. It can be said that it is an unprecedented rookie pirate group. It has become famous for a while. However, it is also a wrong choice." Aokiji glanced at Sanji and the others, and reminded, "I want to take her away, you better not stop it. After all, if I take her away, I don't have to do anything to you and arrest you. And you will regret letting this happen soon." The troublesome woman got on the boat and regretted letting her be your partner. The best proof is that all the organizations that have been associated with Nicole Rose guests so far have perished, and she is the only one who survived. Why is this? Speaking of this, Aokiji stood up, which made Zoro and the others frown, and Robin became more and more uneasy. Aokiji stared at Robin, and his voice became low, which made Robin's heart tremble. "Nico Robin, choose to come with me, or do you want to implicate them? Continue as usual, they all perish, and you are spared." Robin's pupils shrank, his expression complicated, tangled, and very reluctant. The destruction of Ohara, the death of the mother, the death of the doctors, the death of the commoners. Robin is unwilling, he has failed, and there is really no hope. However, in front of me, there is also despair. Anyone who will be caught will be caught. Rather than being caught all, it is better to be taken away by yourself, in exchange for the safety of Nami and others. Robin stood up, and after a long silence she spoke. "This time, let me sacrifice in exchange for everyone to survive." Robin looked at Aokiji and made a choice. "I'll go with you." When the words fell, Robin stepped with his right foot, ready to walk forward. But, suddenly, a figure descended from the sky. Whoosh! Boom! The figure fell, holding the straw hat on his head with his left hand and supporting the ground with his right hand. Impressively, Luffy landed in front of Robin, stood up, blocked Robin, stared at Aokiji, and Haki whispered, "I won't let you take her away. If you have to do that, then, try it." Bang, 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 bang. When Luffy finished speaking, 5 loud footsteps sounded. It was Zoro, Sanji, Usopp, Nami, and Chopper who stepped forward and stood side by side with Luffy. "Keep Robin behind you." The next moment, Luffy and the others shouted in unison, "Come on, Marine Admiral." The scene in front of him made Aokiji startled. All of them put on a fighting stance, and this momentum gave him a feeling that it was like a rookie pirate group. Even a supernova cannot have such a momentum. Aokiji's heart trembled, as if the pirate group in front of him was not a rookie pirate group, but had the feeling of an imperial group. Robin, who was behind him, stared blankly at the backs of Luffy and the others. At this moment, she was no longer uneasy, but inexplicably at ease and calmed down. Robin's eyes were full of crystals, his heart was moved, and he whispered, "Luffy, everyone. I haven't felt this way for a long time and I'm protected. There is this feeling, long ago, when Ohara was protected by her mother." Luffy turned his head and grinned. "Robin, what nonsense did you just say? We don't agree to go with him." Quote. Robin was about to say something, but was interrupted by Luffy. "We don't care what you did in the past, but now, you are our partner." In the end, the word, partner, echoed in Robin's ears, and his heart was very warm. It was the first time after leaving Ohara that he felt this way. Polu Polu. At this time, the sound of the phone bug rang. Aokiji connected. It was Sengoku calling. "How is it? Did you meet?" "Years." Sengoku was actually a little unhappy. "After all this time. I thought I could meet in Alabasta and win the Straw Hat crew, but I haven't met until now." Sengoku wants to go as fast as possible, and does not want to let Straw Hat crew continue to grow and expand. Sending out the Marine Admiral, "It's been a shame for Marine that I haven't seen the Straw Hat crew for so long." Aokiji said, "I have already met, right in front of me, ready to do it." Sengoku understood, heaved a sigh of relief, and hung up directly. "Then I won't bother you, waiting for your good news." After hanging up, Sengoku was in a good mood, as if in his eyes, soon, Straw Hat crew was about to be defeated by Kuzan, all frozen into ice sculptures, arrested and returned to Impel Down. Sengoku is in a good mood. It's finally time to end the Straw Hat crew. They are too famous to continue this time, otherwise there will be more people who want to become pirates and follow their example. This is not allowed. It is not impossible for such a pirate group to continue to grow. It is so strong now and continues to grow, and it is not impossible to become an imperial group in the future. Sengoku thinks it's even entirely possible. The 4 emperors are enough for Marine and the world government to have a headache, otherwise, the existence of the 4 emperors will not be allowed. He didn't do it because he didn't dare, and he didn't want to fight easily. If there was another 5th emperor, the pressure would be even greater and the headache would be even greater. Therefore, they must kill and believe that although Straw Hat crew is hot and strong, it will definitely lose against Admiral. Sengoku waited for the good news, thinking that soon, Kuzan's phone would call to inform himself of the good news. Sengoku ordered someone to order tea for himself and started drinking and waiting. Garp is also there. Knowing that Kuzan has met the Straw Hat pirates, his heart is naturally heavy. Even sitting in the marshal's office, Garp's heavy face did not hide. Sengoku understood, but chose to ignore it. Garp worried inwardly. "Luffy, hope you guys will survive." Sky Island. At this time, Aokiji was ready to start, and the whole body was already filled with cold air. Zoro said, "Luffy, you solved the so-called god, so, this admiral, leave it to us." Sanji also agreed. "Luffy, you've made a name for yourself in front of all the ladies of Sky Island, this time, change me." Usopp also felt that he was not what he used to be, and said, "Yes, leave it to us, Luffy, you can protect Robin." Luffy thought about it, and then backed away. "Okay, that's up to you." After that, Luffy stood beside Robin. Robin was surprised and worried. "Don't worry about me, you will pay BHBJ together." Before he could finish speaking, Luffy smiled and said to himself, "It's okay, they can do it. After all, the present is not what it used to be. If they were to deal with a Marine Admiral, they would have to work together with the Straw Hats. That would be a waste of practice." Luffy sat down cross-legged and motioned to Robin. "Robin, sit down with me, you should be as curious as I am, how strong they are, and I am also curious." Although he has fought Zoro, Luffy knows that he has never shown his true strength and full strength. Seeing Luffy's indifference and confidence, Robin nodded heavily and chose to believe. Although it's outrageous, the rookie pirates are all so young, facing Marine Admiral, although only one, but Admiral Ah. You know, Marine Admiral, there are only 3. However, since Luffy said so, he chose to believe it. Aokiji was even more surprised, because he didn't expect to face himself and not start together. Although it is a famous rookie pirate group, it also depends on who you are compared with. Aokiji doesn't get angry either, just casually, looking at Luffy and exclaiming, "You look a lot like your grandpa, Monkey D." Luffy. Luffy said, "You know my grandpa. I was taken care of by your grandfather, but I won't show mercy." Aokiji got serious. Luffy was happy and reminded, "You don't show mercy, otherwise, you may suffer." This made Aokiji startled and smiled. "Really, then I'm very interested to see your true strength." The Straw Hats, Luffy offered $1 billion bounty, and Aokiji thought it was a match. Pirate Hunter Zoro, with a bounty of 350 million. Chef Sanji, with a bounty of 200 million Baileys. Whether it matches, Aokiji doesn't know, but he feels that the lowest reward is this kind of reward. The others, who have yet to be rewarded, whose names are known, Nami the Navigator, Usopp the Sniper, and Chopper the Ship Doctor. It looked like a pet, but in the next moment, Chopper suddenly became huge, transformed into a human beast form, with a powerful momentum, knotted muscles, and even covered in pitch-black armament hockey. Nami took the weather rod and turned pitch black, covering armament hockey. Sanji's right foot suddenly caught fire. Zoro took a three-knife stance. Usopp pulled the slingshot, aimed at himself, his eyes were sharp. At this moment, Aokiji was shocked by the momentum displayed by the 5 people in front of him. Is it an illusion, or? Aokiji is a bit unimaginable, because the momentum displayed is like the Imperial Regiment. The rookie pirates, the Straw Hat Pirates, actually gave him, as Admiral, an Imperial aura. Aokiji was unbelievable inside, thinking it was impossible. The rookie pirates are all young people, how could they be like the royal group? Perhaps, it's just an aura. Aokiji thinks like this, in terms of strength, he will know soon. Aokiji moved directly, raised his right hand, and aimed at Robin. Ice cubes, pop the pheasant's mouth. Suddenly, a lifelike ice bird charged with extremely cold air, rushing towards Robin, very fast. Zoro and the others were naturally angry when they saw Aokiji attack Robin directly. "Did you ignore us?" Sanji was ready to do it. Zoro said, "I'll do it." Zoro suddenly let out a low voice. 3 swords of profound meaning, Qinglong Yin. Suddenly, a lifelike blue dragon slashed out and collided with the ice bird. In the roar, the ice bird was smashed, and the blue dragon also dispersed. This made Aokiji stunned, and his swordsmanship was very strong. And, the most important thing is that only the opponent made a move to defeat his own attack. Aokiji sighed. "You guys are really good. It seems that it is impossible to bypass you and take Nico Robin. Then, let's fight with you seriously." Aokiji grabbed 2 handfuls of grass with both hands and blew it left and right. The cold air swept through, and the blades of grass froze, turning into 2 ice blades. Aokiji held 2 ice blades in his hands, and covered with pitch-black armament hockey, the ice blades were even harder, and the cold air was bone-chilling. Zoro suddenly assumed the posture of drawing the knife, and the knife became pitch-black. One sword, black sword, death, lion song song. Whoosh! Suddenly, Zoro disappeared in a flash, and the next moment, appeared behind Aokiji. And Aokiji, who was not injured, was at a critical moment and blocked with the ice blade, but with a click, the ice blade shattered. Even, Aokiji's hands were numb. This knife, very strong, made Aokiji more aware of Zoro's strength. Even at the moment of the collision, Aokiji planned to use the freezing moment to release the cold air through the ice blade to freeze Zoro, but the speed was too fast to succeed. Without waiting for Aokiji to react, Sanji had already swept over in an instant, shaving at a very high speed. Aokiji is amazed why Marine 6 styles. Zoro flew high into the sky just now, and Aokiji saw it too, using moonwalk, why the Straw Hat Pirates almost always use Marine 6 styles. Devil's Foot, Veal Shot, instantly swept to Aokiji's side. Sanji's right foot was on fire, kicking quickly, with great power. Aokiji could clearly feel it, and he was shocked and didn't dare to be careless. Aokiji understands that he is strong in taijutsu and has a strong foot. Boom! With a quick kick, Aokiji quickly raised the other hand, and the ice blade slashed out. At the moment of the collision, Aokiji's hand shook, and instead of shaking Sanji away, he froze. The skate in Aokiji's hand trembled as Sanji's foot moved. Aokiji was amazed. What a strong power, what a strong kick. Aokiji is unexpectedly so strong. If Garp is strong in taijutsu, strong in Iron Fist, then Sanji is strong in feet. On the ice blade, the cold was raging, but Sanji's feet were not frozen because of the burning flame. Sanji kicked hard, and with a click, the ice blade shattered. At the same time, behind Aokiji, Zoro moved. 3 swords, extreme, tiger hunting. Roar. Suddenly, a blue tiger roared out and bit Aokiji from above, with a terrifying momentum. Aokiji didn't dare to be careless, raised his other hand, and sent out the ice pheasant again. However, by the time the ice pheasants coalesced, Usopp in the distance was already taking aim. Slaying, flame ball. With the cry of the ice pheasant, it was hit by the flame ball, bombed, and dissipated as soon as it came out. Aokiji is vibrating, so accurate, it shoots when it launches an attack, it hits accurately, this prediction, this accuracy. And this sniper power is also extremely strong. Aokiji's eyes were shocked and solemn, the sniper of the Straw Hats. Aokiji has a heavy heart and is a strong sniper. The ice pheasants collapsed, and the tigers roared. At the same time, a figure swept to his side in an instant. Shave. It was Chopper who quickly swept in, ate a blue wave pill while moving, and the whole body was strengthened. The already burly and sturdy body is even more burly, and the muscles swell with a punch. Chopper's arms were thick, his fists clenched, covering the pitch-black armament hockey, and his fist slammed into the right side of Aokiji's body. 6 styles, 6 King's gun. This shocked Aokiji. Who did he learn from? Whoosh. Usopp moved quickly and appeared to the left of Aokiji. While moving, he had already drawn his bow. After moving, he stopped instantly and finished shooting. This made Aokiji look sideways, frowning, and this sniper ability shocked himself again. It's been shot, what's the shot? Aokiji didn't notice it. What was shocking was that, while moving at a high speed, he could still accurately shoot himself. However, did not see any bullets or more powerful. Wrong. Aokiji looked down and saw a few small green beans that jumped under his feet. Bind the vines. In an instant, the vines swept under Aokiji's feet, growing rapidly, tying Aokiji. And, it permeates from the ground and emerges from under Usopp's feet. Usopp held the vine in his hand, and the vine immediately covered armament hockey. In an instant, the vines that entangled Aokiji turned black, which made Aokiji's eyes widen and his pupils shrink. In Thunder and Lightning, the sky is struck by thunder. Aokiji was shocked again. Dark clouds appeared above his head, lightning flashed, and thunder and lightning suddenly fell. For a while, there was Sanji's demon foot in front, the tiger cut out by Zoro in the back, the chopper on the right was bombarded with the powerful 6 King spear, and there was vine restraint below. Usopp on the left again aimed and shot. The bullets were pitch black, not the original evil eyes, instead covering armament hockey. Above, there is lightning. For a time, Aokiji, who is admiral, felt the pressure, a lot of pressure. In an instant, Aokiji had a thought, a heavy thought, and a feeling. Facing these 5, it was like facing 5 imperial cadres. Admiral himself seems not to be fighting 5 rookie pirates, but 5 powerful royal cadres. Just now, I felt that the Straw Hats were like the royal group. Aokiji couldn't believe it, he thought it was impossible, but now, he's sure, it's not an exaggeration. Facing the siege of 5 people, the lazy Aokiji was extremely solemn at the moment. Boom, 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 boom. A series of terrifying bombings erupted. In the center, the ground was sunken, rubble flying, various attacks erupted, flame kicks, slashing tigers, thunder and lightning, and icy air. Although the result hasn't come out yet, Ganfor is already stunned, standing there looking blankly. Ganford murmured to himself, too strong. Now Ganfor is absolutely certain, the Straw Hats, each one is a monster. Each one is very powerful. Robin was also stunned and shocked. He didn't expect everyone to be so strong. Looking at the shocked Robin, Luffy said, although he is admiral, it is impossible to take you away. As for everyone's strength, even if it is so strong, you don't need to be too shocked, you will be very strong soon. Robin is happy, originally worried because he dragged everyone down, but now it seems that maybe he can really fight Marine Admiral. Most importantly, Luffy hasn't shot yet. Robin is not so heavy, and he is relieved. Great, everyone is so good, although it is Admiral, but there is hope. And, Luffy, you haven't done it yet. Robin felt hopeful. After all, Luffy must be the strongest of the 7. Luffy corrected. Well, there is hope, but I won't do it, they will be enough. Even I think that 5 together, some bully admiral. Robin was stunned, a little bullying admiral. This, even though the 5 are teaming up, the opponent is admiral. Looking at the stunned Robin, Luffy smiled and said, let's put it this way, if it's the royal group, take the Red Hair Pirates. The 5 strongest cadres of the Red Hair group joined forces to deal with one Admiral Aokiji, isn't it too bullying? With that said, Robin shook, thought about it, indeed. Luffy continued. You may not be that strong yet, but it won't be that much worse. Robin looked at the bombing center, staring intently at the result. Gunpowder smoke, cold air, and crackling thunder and lightning raged and dissipated. Robin could see clearly. In the center, Aokiji parried, counterattacked, and defended all attacks, but he was also injured, a little embarrassed, and a bloodline appeared on the corner of his mouth. The icy cold air erupted and instantly condensed, forming a dense mass around Aokiji, spreading all over the surrounding space, and hundreds of small ice swords shot out at a rapid rate. Zoro and the others fought back, retreated, and smashed the ice sword, but they were not injured. Aokiji wiped the bloodline at the corner of his mouth, and touched all parts of his body, his face twitching slightly. It hurts. Aokiji sighed. Zoro and the others took an attacking stance again, and knew that it was impossible to defeat Admiral in the siege just now, and it was impossible to end the battle in a short period of time. Aokiji exclaimed, I really underestimate you. Although you are a newcomer, you are all monsters. Even fighting with you makes me feel like fighting with the 5 cadres of the Imperial Regiment. Aokiji's whole body was cold and ready to go all out. To correct his mentality, it can't be regarded as facing 5 newcomers. It really has to be regarded as facing 5 royal cadres, and even if he is fighting a Kainu instead, Aokiji feels that he has to be more serious. Powerful swordsman, extremely fast-moving, powerful kicks, as well as reindeer with powerful physical skills, strength, speed, and sniping abilities are among the best in the world. There are also navigators in the distance, long-range attacks. At this moment, Aokiji has a lot of pressure in his heart and must fight with all his strength. Ah, I thought this task would be easier, but I didn't expect it to be so stressful. I knew that Sakazuki would come. Aokiji's words are obviously a headache. I don't want to work so hard, I will be very tired. Next, Luffy's words made Aokiji's face change. Nami, Chopper, you 2 step back. Zoro, Sanji, Usopp are 3 to deal with him, that's enough. It is good. Nami and Chopper stopped and stepped back, ready to watch. Aokiji is not angry, although it looks a little shameful, but they cannot be regarded as newcomers. Sanji's fighting spirit rises. That's fine. If there are 5, maybe I won't be able to force me to go all out. The 3 of us will deal with it. Since he is Admiral, then we should go all out. Next, don't use the devil's feet, but... In the next instant, Aokiji's eyes locked on Sanji, and his expression changed. Aokiji's right leg was entangled with a cherry blossom-like hockey. This lets Aokiji know that it is emission. And, I also know that Sanji is going to use a stronger move, no longer a demon foot, so what is it? A more terrifying existence than a demon. Zoro said. Then I won't hide. Zoro holds the knife in both hands, and the blade wraps around Haki. This made Aokiji's face change, not only the black knife, covering armament Haki, but also entangled, Conqueror's Haki. As an admiral, Aokiji naturally knows that wrapping Conqueror's Haki on a weapon or attack will enhance its attack power and can substantially attack the enemy within a certain distance without touching the opponent. There are only very few top powerhouses can do it. However, next, even more shocking, was Zoro's knife swing. In an instant, he thought of a person he had seen when he was young, One Piece, Roger. At that time, when I was young, I was naturally unable to fight with Roger's level. At that time, I followed Garp and I was fortunate to see Garp fighting Roger. At that time, what shocked him was that Roger's swordsmanship was also extremely powerful, especially that sword got avoidance. Powerful, the name is Haki. And now, Zoro is holding a knife in both hands, and Conqueror's Haki is entangled. Is this a double knife avoidance? There is Sanji in the front, Zoro in the back, and there is an extremely terrifying sniper far away from. And, Aokiji was shocked again. This time the bullet, wrapped around it, was also emission. The internal destruction of emission hockey, combined with this terrifying sniper ability, the speed of the bullet must be extremely fast, it is difficult to avoid, then it will be hit. Aokiji was shaken. I thought that with 5 people and 3 exits, the pressure would not be as great as before, but now the pressure is even greater than before. Gonfuer has been shocked and numb, 2 monster, 1 by 1, and hidden. 2 terrifying. Nami and Chopper are looking forward to it. I know that everyone is very strong after training, but they have not seen the strongest trump cards. Now the 3 of them face Admiral, so they have to go all out, and you can see it. Luffy is also looking forward to it. After all, even he can't think of Zoro's strongest cards. After all, Zoro's teacher is not only Hawkeye, and Sanji is not only Ivankov. There are other teaching templates, plus the cultivation environment, so Luffy is not very clear. Zoro, Sanji, Usopp are all ready to do it at the same time. 2 swords, 2 gods. The devil, super kill, emission. However, just when the 3 Zoro were ready to fight with all their strength and launch an attack, Aokiji's cold energy dissipated, and he once again turned into his lazy appearance. Allah, forget it, don't fight. When the words fell, Aokiji was about to turn and leave. This made Zoro and the others stunned. Stop fighting. Usopp wants to say, is he afraid? But thinking about it like this, it might irritate the opponent. After all, it's Marine Admiral. Can he not fight? Usopp thinks it's not good to fight. Even if you fight, don't be afraid. Zoro and Sanji just got interested and wanted to fight, but seeing that Aokiji really stopped fighting, it wasn't because of any tricks, and they really didn't feel the will to fight. Hey, what are you doing? We are pirates, you are Marine Admiral, aren't you fighting? Zoro was a little unhappy. He is willing to fight against the strong, and on the road to become the world's largest swordsman, he is destined to fight with more strong. Sanji dissatisfied. I'm going to show in front of the beauties, you won't fight. At this time, many people from Sky Island gathered around, ready to thank Luffy and others, but found that the battle was continuing, not with Enel. Aokiji walked towards Yinin and waved his hand. If you fight, you're not sure of success. Since you can't succeed, why do you fight? You have to make yourself so tired. So, forget it, don't fight. Aokiji said that he was not sure, but he was certain in his heart that it was impossible to succeed. Faced with the 3 combat powers of the Straw Hats, Aokiji felt that it was difficult. Although he didn't worry about being defeated if he fought, it was only the 3 of the Straw Hats who fought against him. There's also a great navigator, a great ship doctor, and most importantly, Luffy, the Straw Hat, didn't shoot. Aokiji felt that among the Straw Hats, as the captain, Straw Hat must be the strongest. Even if he can defeat Zoro's 3, or even 5, then, what about the Straw Hat? Aokiji didn't think he could win, even though he was Marine Admiral. Aokiji's words made Usopp and the others speechless. Is this really Marine Admiral? It's too casual and lazy. Luffy is naturally not surprised and understands that this is lazy justice. Aokiji leaves and follows the icicles down the Sky Island. Only then did Nami and the others completely believe that they really stopped fighting and just left. However, there is no complete relaxation, knowing that the future will be tougher. Although Admiral did not succeed in taking them down, he just left, but he also got a clearer understanding of their group's combat power. Then, Marine will definitely pay more attention, which is why it will be harder after that. Robin was extremely grateful, looked at Luffy and others, and thank you. Luffy was a little unhappy. We are partners, say thank you for what to do. Nami said, yeah, that's very polite. Partner. Robin was touched and nodded with a smile. After Aokiji left, the people from Sky Island gathered around, admiring and thanking him very much. Everyone surrounded Luffy, kept throwing it up, and cheered. Thank you so much. Thank you for defeating God. Sky Island is at peace. Without you, we would be doomed. You are Sky Island's biggest benefactor. Sky Island will do its best to help if anything happens in the future. Their sincere thanks and sworn assurance. Gonfuer and other warriors are firm in their hearts, and in order to thank the Straw Hat Pirates, they are willing to go up the mountain and go down the Sea of Fire. The War Ghost Weber vowed, if you need anything in the future, even if you say it, you will help you even if you give your life. Luffy knew that they really wanted to thank themselves, and with their order, the Sky Island fighters would go to the sword and fire for themselves. Sky Island fighters also have strength, especially Weber, who is strong and a man. Luffy nodded, not being polite, which made them even more embarrassed. Webb, Ganfer and others nodded heavily, waiting for what Luffy would ask them to do in the future. In the future, Luffy will naturally want to set up the Straw Hat Big Fleet just like the original plot, and the War Ghost Weber is good enough to lead the Shandia warriors. Sanji and the others are not enjoying themselves, and they don't care anymore. Fighting with all their strength, even more difficult and dangerous fights, will meet sooner or later. Even faster, after all, naval headquarters will soon learn that they are actually stronger. The people from Sky Island prepared a sumptuous exercise for Luffy and others, eating delicious food. Luffy liked it the most. Although the battle didn't consume too much energy, and it wasn't very difficult, but they were all hungry. Even if they weren't hungry, seeing so many delicious foods with fragrant aromas, their appetites greatly increased. Luffy and the others devoured it, eating and drinking, laughing and laughing. After eating, Luffy and the others looked happy and content, lying on the beach, Luffy and Usopp's belly bulging. After eating and drinking, and resting and digesting, Robin couldn't wait. I'm going to have a look. Robin was excited. Luffy and the others nodded and went with Robin. Soon, he came to the Golden Bell, and in front of the stone platform below was engraved with the historical text that no one could understand. There are many people from Angel Island gathered here. Elder, do you know what is written on it? I don't know, but I don't know, maybe it's a good thing. At this time, Robin walked to the historical text and read. I am the one who writes history, with the bells of the Great Bell Tower. The elders and others were shocked. Can't you understand? Robin nodded. Well, it says, ancient weapon in the name of God, Poseidon. Robin looked at the historical text with a heavy heart. Another ancient weapon, it's not the same thing as Alabastus Pluton. Such a dangerous thing is still sleeping somewhere in this world. Hope everyone will not encounter this kind of thing. A dangerous ancient weapon. Robin was naturally referring to Luffy and the others. Crocodile learned from his mouth that if Pluton shot an island, then other ancient weapons must be equally terrifying. Therefore, I don't want Luffy and the others to be targeted by this ancient weapon. Looking at it, Robin lost interest. It wasn't something she wanted to know. What she wanted to know was the truth about the blank 100 years of history. Robin was stunned, and saw a paragraph of text from the Golden Bell, the same text as the historical text. I am here, leading this text to the final place. One Piece, Gall D. Roger. Robin shocked. One Piece, Roger, he has been to Sky Island. The words that are engraved mean that he became the Queen of Pirates. What does this passage mean? Why did he write such words? Robin was puzzled, curious. Nami stepped forward and asked, Robin, is that what you want to know? Robin shook his head. The historical text is divided into two types of stones. One is the 4 red road sign historical texts that record Raftel's location information, and the other is 26 historical texts that record the blank 100-year history, including 9 pieces of historical texts record important information. When the information on these 26 pieces of historical texts are combined, a complete article that records the history of the blank 100 years can be formed, that is, the real historical text. In the end, Robin is looking forward to it and must do it. Luffy believes. You must know, the real history. Robin looked at Luffy, who believed in himself, and nodded, Robin's thinking is clearer, and he will know by connecting all the historical texts and guiding them to the end of the Grand Line. After solving Enel and understanding the historical text here, Luffy and others are ready to leave Sky Island. Nami said. At this time, that admiral should have gone down and gone far. Usopp nodded. Well, if you really want to leave, you have already left. Sanji is looking forward to it. The bounty will be updated again. I hope my bounty order can be changed to a better looking avatar. Luffy and others are also looking forward to the new reward order. After this time, how much will the Straw Hats bounty reach? At this point, Aokiji had already left Sky Island and called the phone bug. Naval Headquarters, Marshal's office. When Sengoku saw that it was Aokiji calling, he was naturally happy. In his opinion, it meant that he had succeeded. Garp on the side looked ugly, and he knew that it was Aokiji calling, which meant that the battle was over. Luffy. Garp was heavy, feeling that it was over. Sengoku connected and asked, "Did it work, Kuzan?" Aokiji was a little embarrassed. "Marshal, sorry, I failed." Sengoku was stunned. Garp was also stunned, failed. Sengoku frowned. "Kuzan, what do you mean?" Aokiji was helpless. "I couldn't take them down." Sengoku couldn't believe it. "You mean, you're not their opponent?" "Other than that, I can't figure out why." To Sengoku's surprise, Aokiji nodded without hesitation. "Yes, Marshal, I am not their opponent. To take down the Straw Hat crew, I am afraid that at least 2 admirals are needed." In an instant, Sengoku shook even more, and even Garp couldn't believe it. Admiral Kuzan, who is not the opponent of the Straw Hats, even said that 2 admiral are needed, or the least. How can that be? Sengoku is a little angry and suspects that Aokiji is joking with himself. "Kuzan, stop joking," Aokiji said seriously. "Marshal, I'm not kidding, their combat power is beyond your imagination." This made Sengoku's face completely ugly. No joke, really failed. After calming himself down, Sengoku asked, "What's going on? Let's be specific." Aokiji sat down and started talking. Garp was in a good mood, Luffy and the others were all right, and they listened quietly with interest. As narrated, the expressions of Sengoku and Garp are almost identical. Doubt, shock, face heavy. Aokiji said that he started to face the Straw Hats, giving him a feeling of facing the Imperial group. Then the Straw Hats dealt with him 5, but Luffy didn't even do it. That's why they were shaking, and facing Marine Admiral, the whole regiment did not go all out. The point is, Aokiji also failed. Until the back, it turned out that 3 people dealt with Aokiji, and 5 people made Aokiji feel a lot of pressure. Aokiji was sure that, due to 5 heads up, he would lose, just like facing the real 5 Imperial cadres. Then faced Zoro, Sanji, Usopp, and Aokiji didn't have the confidence to win. Even if it can be defeated, there are the other 2 fighting forces, and the most important one is the captain of the Straw Hat, Luffy. So, the fight didn't last, and Aokiji chose to leave. Sengoku's face was extremely heavy, while Garp's face was proud and relieved. Garp sighed inwardly. "As expected of my grandson, what a great Luffy." After the gratification, Garp is extremely regretful. "Unfortunately, if you listen to me and are willing to become a Marine, then you can definitely become a Marine Admiral." Aokiji said, "That's how it goes." Sengoku understands that, according to Aokiji, to take down the Straw Hat crew, at least 2 admirals are indeed needed. Sengoku's heart was heavy. In a short period of time, the newcomers' Straw Hat group was so powerful. Even the original Roger pirates and the Whitebeard pirates were just established, and they couldn't be so terrifying in a short period of time. "I thought that 1 admiral would be enough, but it failed, so I chose to leave voluntarily. Sorry, Marshal Sengoku, for disappointing you." Aokiji apologized. Sengoku shook his head. "It has nothing to do with you. I didn't expect them to be so strong. It seems that I didn't know much about them before. I'm afraid that if I go, I will also fail in return." Most importantly, the strongest Straw Hat captain, Luffy, didn't do anything. Sengoku felt that it was impossible to win the Straw Hats by himself. "Unless, I am dispatched with Garp. But, stop joking, it will be laughed at if it spreads out. Only those legendary pirates of the old era could be dispatched together with Garp. Formerly Roger pirates, Sky pirates, Whitebeard pirates." Sengoku sighed. "Although it didn't work out, it's a good thing to know more about their combat power." Although it is a good thing, but the heart is still heavy. Such a powerful and potential pirate group has appeared in the sea. It is inevitable to become a royal group in the future. Although I understand the combat power this time, I also know that it will be very difficult to win the Straw Hat crew. If it were other supernovae, even if it were several, 1 admiral would be enough, but if it was so strong, it had to be weighed. If it is powerful enough, it cannot be dealt with at will, just like the 4 emperors. However, Sengoku is more determined. "We must take them down, we can't let them continue to grow, otherwise it's hard to imagine how terrifying it will be. Fortunately, there are 7 people in total, and taking them down will not be more difficult than taking down the 4 emperors group." Aokiji felt the same way. Although it was powerful and beyond their imagination, it was naturally incomparable to any four emperors in combat power. Sengoku said. Although the Straw Hat did not shoot, it is the strongest in the Straw Hat crew, but it is not much stronger than the pirate hunter Zoro. This point, Aokiji also agrees. Zoro is very strong. Thinking of the Straw Hat's combat power, it is stronger than Zoro, right? To say that it is much stronger, they think it is impossible. Therefore, in this battle, they felt that they had basically understood the current combat power of the Straw Hats, and felt that it was easier than winning any of the four emperors' regiments. At this point, Garp felt heavier after a brief relief. If this is the case, it will be even more difficult for the Straw Hats in the future. After all, in the four emperors' regiment, Marine tried not to fight without fighting, because the combat power was very strong, and a fight would have a great impact and a great risk. Although the Straw Hats are also very powerful, Marine has no such idea, but will pay more attention, which is why Garp is heavy. Maybe next time, it will really send two admiral, or one admiral with some elite vice admiral and other high combat power. Sengoku said sternly. Next time, send two admirals directly. This made Garp's heart sank, and the two admiral. In this way, Luffy they. Although I was shocked by the Straw Hats, but if it were to face two admirals, it would be more fortunate than for luck. Aokiji was also shocked. He thought that one admiral would bring some high-level combat power, but he did not expect two admiral directly. Such a battle has not happened in a long time. I am afraid that only when facing the Roger pirates, and when the Golden Lion attacked the naval headquarters, the two admirals were dispatched. Haven't seen it in so many years. If they don't easily fight with the four emperors, then it is impossible for other pirate groups to let the two admirals do it together. Sengoku said solemnly. Even if the Straw Hats are like the five emperors, they must fight against them and take them down. Aokiji felt that it was not an exaggeration for the Straw Hats to become the five emperors. Aokiji asked, is it necessary to make the Straw Hats the five emperors and the Straw Hat Luffy the fifth emperor of the sea? Sengoku shook his head. It's still too early, the rookie pirates are set like this, it's a bit hasty, let's understand more. This time, let's increase their bounty. Aokiji understood. It was indeed a bit sloppy. After all, this time, he did not fight with all his strength, but probably until the Straw Hats were stronger than expected. It is indeed a bit premature to designate the Straw Hat Luffy as the fifth emperor of the sea now. Aokiji asked. So, the next action, when, which two of the three admiral? Aokiji didn't want to go, thinking that even two admirals wouldn't be easy. Speaking of this, Sengoku frowned even more heavily. Making Sengoku heavier than before means something more serious. Garp guessed it too, and he was relieved, but still heavy. Sengoku said solemnly, the red-haired guy has signs of meeting with Whitebeard. This made Aokiji feel for a while. The meeting between the two four emperors, or the meeting between the Whitebeard pirates and the red-hair pirates, was indeed more of a headache for Marine and the world government. Aokiji also understood. So the Straw Hats will not take action for a short time, at least until the results of the meeting between Red Hair Pirates and Whitebeard Pirates come out. If two admirals are sent to deal with the Straw Hat crew, and the Red Hair Pirates form an alliance with the Whitebeard Pirates, then it is extremely dangerous for Marine and the world government, and there is no need to take such a big risk in order to solve the Straw Hat crew. Sengoku said condensedly. The reason you should be able to think of, let's see what they are going to do in the meeting first. The ordinary meeting is fine. If the alliance or other targets are against us, then we have to stop the Straw Hats for the time being. It doesn't matter, this matter. It will be known soon, and I believe that the strength and number of the Straw Hats will not increase too much in a short period of time. Aokiji feels the same way, that the Straw Hats focus more on friendship than quantity. So they felt that after a period of time, the combat power of the Straw Hats might be similar to what it is now. So, there is no need to rush. At this time, Garp had an idea in his heart, although it was not in line with his position. But the inner thought is, I hope the Red Hair Pirates and the Whitebeard Pirates unite, I hope they do something to Marine. Otherwise, the Straw Hats would face two admirals, and it would be a near-death experience. Sengoku's eyes flashed with wisdom, the office calmed down, and both Aokiji and Garp were looking forward to it. Because he knew that Sengoku was thinking about the size of the bounty for Straw Hat crew, this time, the bounty of all Straw Hat crew members will definitely be released. After a brief thought, Sengoku stopped pondering. Aokiji asked, "Have you decided yet, Marshal?" "Well, I already know the bounty offered by everyone in the Straw Hat crew. Let's not talk about everyone's bounty, let's talk about the total bounty offered by the 7 members of the Straw Hat crew." This quieted the office, and both Aokiji and Garp looked at Sengoku. Sengoku raised his hand, stretched out a count, and in the next moment, both Aokiji and Garp's expressions changed in shock. I saw that Sengoku raised his right hand and stretched out 4 fingers. If it was a rookie pirate group, everyone would think that the number given by Sengoku was 400 million Bailey. After all, a rookie pirate group, even at a supernova level, the total bounty offered by everyone on board, 400 million, is already very powerful. However, Aokiji and Garp know that this is not 400 million, but 4 billion Baileys. Aokiji and Garp were very shocked and didn't expect it. I thought about whether the total bounty of the Straw Hats would be 2 billion Baileys, or close to 3 billion, but I didn't expect it to be 4 billion directly. So, how much is each person's bounty? Only when 7 people add up, the bounty has reached 4 billion Baileys. Sengoku detailed. First of all, the Straw Hat Pirates ship doctor, Tony Chopper, the bounty, 300 million Bailey. After a brief surprise, Aokiji felt no exaggeration. Zone is the fruit of everyone, the fruit development is very strong, combined with its own strong physical skills, and Haki, the combat power is very strong. Aokiji had seen it before, and felt that in physical skills, there are still trump cards, and most importantly, in terms of fruit ability, there will definitely be more trump cards that are useless. Therefore, the bounty is directly 300 million, which is not an exaggeration. Except for Nico Robin and Captain Luffy, the other members of the Straw Hats must be treated as royal officials. Sengoku continued. Straw Hat Pirates Navigator, Nami, bounty, 300 million Baileys. Although Nami doesn't do much, Aokiji is sure and strong. After all, the aura he had exuded before gave him the aura of an imperial cadre. Aokiji feels that this Nami may not only be good at manipulating the weather, but Haki is also very strong in physical skills. Straw Hat Pirates Sniper, Usopp, bounty, 400 million Bailey. Aokiji is still not surprised, this sniper is very scary. In battle, snipers are terrible. For example, Usopp of the Redheads, the world's #1 sniper. On Usopp, Aokiji can see the shadow of Usopp. If Zoro, the pirate hunter, is the most promising existence to surpass Hawkeye and become the world's largest swordsman, then Usopp is the existence that surpasses Usopp and becomes the world's #1 sniper. Straw Hat Pirates Chef, Sanji, bounty, 700 million Bailey. Pipe exclamation mark quote. Directly 900 million, Garp is a shock. However, it is not surprising. Sengoku also decided after careful consideration that he wouldn't have set the bounty so high without Aokiji's last words. Sengoku reconfirmed the question. At the last moment, did you really think that even if Zoro and Sanji were to join forces against you, it would be difficult for you? Aokiji thought back to the time when Sanji's feet were wrapped in emission, and a more powerful flame was about to emerge. Aokiji was sure. Although I didn't make a move, I didn't see his strong trump card, but I can be sure that it is a stronger move. The name may be. Aokiji has already roughly guessed what kind of name it is. Sengoku was curious. It wasn't shot at the time, and it wasn't fully said, you guessed it. Aokiji nodded. Well, referring to the Devil's Wind Feet, then what he was going to use at that time was called, the Devil's Wind Feet. Devil's Foot. Hearing the name is really scary. Sengoku continued. The swordsman of the Straw Hat Pirates, Roronoa Zoro, the bounty, 800 million Bailey. 800 million, Aokiji and Garp are not surprised, they are naturally higher than Sanji. Sengoku asked, are you sure what he was using at the time, Shenji? Aokiji nodded. I'm pretty sure about that stance. And Conqueror's Entanglement, plus it's a double sword, so I think it should be a double god avoidance at that time. This confuses Sengoku. Roger's moves, how on earth he learned. Sengoku also fully understood why Hawkeye was injured in the battle between Hawkeye and Zoro. Although he won, he was injured, and Sengoku was shaken. Now I fully understand, this Zoro, swordsmanship is very strong. Perhaps, looking at the world, it is only inferior to Hawkeye and the Five Elders. The Straw Hats, Son of the Devil, Nico Robin, bounty, 200 million Baileys. Garp and Aokiji understand that although the combat power is not strong, Nico Robin must be caught. Even if you ask which one the Straw Hats will catch first, it must be Nico Robin. The combat power is not strong, but it is too dangerous. If you join a powerful pirate group like the Straw Hats, then the bounty will definitely increase. Sengoku's face became solemn, and he said in a condensed voice, Captain of the Straw Hat Pirates, Straw Hat Luffy, a bounty. 1.3 billion Bailey. At this point, Aokiji and Garp figured it out. The heart is also shaken, only 17 years old, with a bounty of 1.3 billion. Sengoku thinks that 1.3 billion is very reasonable, the most. Sengoku said, 1.3 billion, it should be very suitable. Although he did not take action in this battle, his strength is at most stronger than the pirate hunter Zoro. Therefore, it is set at 1.3 billion, which is very high. Aokiji also thinks so. There's no way that Straw Hat Luffy is much stronger than Zoro. How is it possible? After all, at the same age, the combat power is definitely not much different. So, these bounties add up to a total of 4 billion Baileys. Once it's settled, Sengoku has people start posting bounties. Soon, the new bounty list will be printed and sent all over the world. After one day, at this point, the Mary had already disembarked from Sky Island, and Luffy and others were with Curry Kate. Just then, the bounty list fell. It's our bounty list, it's published, and the bounty is updated. Usopp was very happy, so he hurried to find his own. It was the first time he was offered a bounty. When he found it soon, Usopp was very happy. Ha ha ha, it's amazing, the first reward, 400 million Bailey. Years. Nami was surprised. I'm actually 300 million Baileys. Chopper's eyes lit up and excited. I am also 300 million. Zoro grinned, satisfied, 900 million. Sanji is nervous, it has nothing to do with the bounty, and prays in his heart to change his avatar. However, upon picking it up, Sanji was petrified. Although the bounty is as high as 800 million Bailey, it is not happy at all. I'm so pissed off. Sanji was so angry that he wanted to cry but had no tears. He felt that maybe Li Wanghao would never change, because of the family relationship. Unless something changed in the family, it might be this ugly photo that wasn't him, and the words must be caught alive. Robin also understands why his bounty has risen, because he joined such a powerful pirate group. Nami and the others leaned over, looked at the reward list in Luffy's hand, and were shocked. 1.3 billion Baileys. That's tall, Luffy. Amazing. Zoro 900 million, Luffy is the captain, 1.3 billion is a normal grave. In this way, our 7 bounties add up to 4 billion Baileys. Then the average bounty is so high. More than 570 million. Thinking about it this way, it is indeed high, and the average bounty is too high. Nami and the others were excited, but Luffy's sudden words made them stunned. Luffy said lightly, this time the reward for us is low. All staff. Zoro and the others were shocked, is this still low? However, in Luffy's mind, it was indeed low. But, it's nothing, after all, the influence is not high, it is impossible to become the 5 emperors as he thought. But Luffy thinks it won't take long, maybe after the Sabayati archipelago. But, there's still a while to experience first, Enies Lobby. Luffy thinks, maybe when Enies Lobby, the difficulty will increase, it can't be just Lucci. Because, not to mention Luffy's current combat power, even Zoro alone can beat CP9 alone. On the Merry, Luffy and the others started a banquet, eating, drinking, singing and dancing, and having a good time, celebrating that all members had a bounty, and that the total amount of the bounty had reached 4 billion Baileys. Although all added up, it is not as good as the 4 emperors. After all, the 4 emperors' bounty starts at 4 billion, but don't worry, it will surpass it sooner or later, but it is just the beginning. Moreover, the most shocking thing about the Straw Hats is that the average bounty is more than 570 million Bailey, which is terrifying. It can be said that even the 4 emperors group, the average bounty is not so high, except for the Red Hair Pirates, which is called the most balanced Iron Wall Pirates. In addition, there is no pirate group that can compare the average bounty to the Straw Hats. At this time, the fact that all members of the Straw Hat Corps offered a reward had already resounded all over the world, and they disliked a wave of discussion. Everyone was horrified and unbelievable. My God, the bounty offered by the Straw Hat Pirates has increased again in such a short time. There are now 7 members of the Straw Hats. Although the number of people is incomparable to those of the hundreds of thousands of pirates, it is too powerful. Yeah, although there are only 7, but the bounty for each one is very high. The Straw Hat is 1.3 billion, the pirate hunter Zoro is 800 million, the chef Sanji is 700 million, the sniper Usopp is 400 million, the navigator and the ship doctor are 300 million, Nico Robin is 200 million. They are all over 100 million, the captain's Straw Hat is more than 100 million, billion. The unprecedented pirate group, it's only been so long, it's so high. Adding up, 4 billion Baileys, is too strong. It's not good either, it will be more valued by Marine, and the combat power will be stronger. The incident this time also details why the bounty has been raised so much, because it was because of Marine Admiral Aokiji that he retreated completely. Awesome, that's Marine Admiral, so the bounty isn't exaggerated. One thing is outrageous, the average bounty is as high as more than 570 million Bailey. Yeah, the average bounty is outrageous. I'm wondering, does the average bounty exceed Red Hair Pirates? Red Hair Pirates is also taking the elite route. If you don't count the big fleet, then maybe the average bounty has not exceeded Red Hair Pirates. Well, if you don't count the fleet under the Red Hair Pirates, it should have not surpassed. After all, the trainee crew of the Red Hair Pirates has a bounty of nearly 100 million Baileys. It's a bit of an exaggeration. The most powerful trainee crew is close to 100 million Bailey, and the normal number is more than 50 million. Although the average bounty has not surpassed, it is already the second average bounty of the world's second pirate group, and I even think that it may surpass the Red Hair Pirates in the future and become the most balanced pirate group above the Iron Wall red-haired group. It's possible, but we'll have to see if they can get to that point, which is quite rare. The next time we deal with the Straw Hats, it will definitely be a stronger Marine. After the world was shaken, I felt that the Straw Hats would be difficult afterward. They were too hard-edged, and they might die very quickly, just like the shining meteors shown in the picture, which were fleeting. At this time, the powerful pirates among the newcomers who entered the Grand Line at about the same time as the Straw Hats were all shocked. The performance of the rookie pirates, the Straw Hats, made them a little embarrassed. They are all arrogant and arrogant. Seeing that the Straw Hats are offering bounties so high, BHBJ, even the lowest is higher than their captain, which makes them very unbalanced. Kid Pirates. Kid looked at the Straw Hat group's reward list in his hand, his face a little ugly. After being surprised, he couldn't wait, and a rebellious smile appeared on Kid's face. Sooner or later, I will meet you, and then I will meet you. Kid's fighting spirit is rising. He is very interested, and he knows that he will meet soon, because all the new pirates who want to enter the new world will eventually gather in the Sabayati Archipelago. So, Kid knows, Sabayati Archipelago will meet Straw Hat crew. At that time, he will fight with the Straw Hats to see where he is weak, and see if the Straw Hats are really that powerful. The bounty is so much higher than them, and Kid, who is arrogant and has both ideals and ambitions, wants to prove that he, Eustace Kid, is no worse than the Straw Hat, and his Kid Pirates are no worse than the Straw Hat Pirates. Therefore, when Sabayati Archipelago, he Kid Pirates, must fight with the Straw Hat Pirates. In that way, after the battle, they can also prove them, and the world can prove it. Kid looks forward to. I wanted to enter the new world and challenge the redheads to become famous, so before entering the new world, let's play against you. Straw Hat, don't let me down, I hope you can make me happy. I believe in the captain, you will definitely be able to defeat the Straw Hat and become famous all over the world. The Straw Hat bounty for the ability of Rubber Fruit is so high, our Captain Paramecia Magnetic Fruit is stronger and has greater potential. The bounty cannot be given to that Straw Hat. The captain must surpass the Straw Hat and become the first supernova. Let's sail quickly, meet them in the Sabayati Archipelago, and defeat them. Not only Kid, but the members of the Kid Pirates can't wait. At this time, not only the kid pirates, but also the leaders of other rookie pirates have the same idea. Such as the Hawkins pirates, the Broadcast pirates, and the Flame Tank pirates. Broadcast pirates. Captain, this Straw Hat group is so dazzling, it has suppressed us all, and even offered a bounty far away from us, and the lowest one is even higher than you, Captain. It's unreasonable, Captain. Captain, it's time for us to make a fuss, but it can't be too inferior. However, Apu, who has long hands, is not in a hurry. Don't worry, Sabayati Archipelago will meet them. They've been famous all over the world lately, so use them as stepping stones to make a name for themselves. This made the crew's eyes lit up and admired. Captain is smart. It's fine for them now. When we defeat them and let them be shriveled, we will also have a great reputation. They are working so hard to improve their prestige now that when the Sabayati Archipelago comes, they will only make us wedding dresses. Captain, who are you going to fight when the time comes? Apu Yin smiled. I originally wanted to provoke Kid, but when it comes to Sabayati Archipelago, just provoke the Straw Hat, and by the way, let him know how powerful my sound fruit is. Ababa. At the end, Apu let out a unique laugh and couldn't wait to make a name for himself by deflating his straw hat. People who don't know their abilities will be attacked. After all, the Yin fruit attack is too sudden. Hawkins pirates. Captain, this is true or false? Captain, do you divination to see if it's true? It's unbelievable, unreasonable, and they are both newcomers, why are they offering such a high bounty? Facing Admiral's retreat, is it true? Did something special happen to make the bounty so high? Faced with Admiral's retreat, it feels impossible. Hawkins with blonde hair gives a sense of strategizing, and his voice is low. No point. Captain, then do you think we can win against the Straw Hats? How can you ask the captain like this? You can definitely win. Captain, does this divination make sense? However, Hawkins shook his head. When Sabayati Archipelago meets the Straw Hats, he will divination. Let's see what the winning rate of my Hawkins pirates will be against them. This made the crew look forward to it and couldn't wait to get to the Sabayati Archipelago and meet the Straw Hat pirates. Sabayati Archipelago, a very chaotic place, especially when all the new stars come together, it's exciting to think about. At that time, our target is the Straw Hat pirates. Well, naturally we have to fight with the most dazzling one. I believe that when the captain makes a divination, our winning rate will be very high. Most of the Nova pirates have this idea. When they are in the Sabayati Archipelago, they will be the Straw Hat pirates. Windmill Village, when everyone knew about it, was proud and happy for Luffy, it was amazing. After Ace knew, she was also proud, happy, and amazed. Luffy, it's getting better and better. In a short period of time, Luffy's reputation has surpassed his own. New World. The world-famous Four Emperors naturally also paid attention. Whether it's the Whitebeard Pirates, the Beasts Pirates, or the Big Mom Pirates, it's a shock. On the Mobity, Marco exclaimed, Ace, this younger brother, his reputation is really getting louder and louder, and this bounty is about the same as me. Joe's. Ace must be ecstatic right now. Yeah, I used to show off to us all the time. Now it's so good. If Ace is here, I can show it off to us all day and night. Kulera Lala. Whitebeard couldn't help laughing when he heard that, and it did. At this time, one of the Four Emperors' regiment was the happiest, naturally the Red Hair Pirates. Luffy is getting better and better. Usopp exclaimed. Beckman was an accident. I was a little kid back then, but I never imagined that I would grow up now. Shanks, too, knew Luffy would be great in the future, but didn't expect to grow so fast. Boss, there's a problem with their average bounty. Reikalu, who was eating chicken drumsticks, was shocked. The average bounty is more than 570 million Bailey. In an instant, the entire red-haired group was shocked. It was extremely shocking. The average bounty can make the red-haired group shake, unprecedented, after all, it is the most balanced Iron Wall pirates. The redhead exclaimed. 7 people, the total reward is 4 billion, and the average is 570 million. It's amazing. Maybe soon, we will surpass us, and we are no longer the first balanced Iron Wall pirates. The total amount of rewards offered by the Straw Hats is still far behind that of the redheads. But the average bounty made the redhead and all the cadres shocked. The redhead grinned in anticipation. Luffy, I'm waiting for your average bounty to surpass us, even the total bounty. The redhead felt that the average bounty offered by the Straw Hats would soon surpass them. After all, the gap is not too big. If the Straw Hats continue to be like this, with only one or two more partners for a long time, and they are not killed, and the bounty continues to increase, then I believe that soon, the world will be the most balanced and the iron with the highest average bounty. The title of the Wall Pirates is not their Red Hair Pirates, but the Straw Hat Pirates. The redhead is looking forward to it, waiting for that day to come. Luffy, I believe you can keep going. The redhead was ready to leave, too, to meet Whitebeard. Asked the trainee crew Rockstar to deliver the letter, but was not looked at by Whitebeard and came back, so he had to go in person at Red Hair Pirates. The redhead also knew that because of himself, Marine would not send two admiral to deal with the Straw Hats anytime soon. Beckman could also think of it, and condensed. We must meet the Whitebeard pirates, so that Marine and the world government will be nervous, and Luffy and the others will be safe for a while. Usopp nodded. Yeah, although Luffy and the others are very good, but facing two admiral, they will really be strangled. Usopp was worried about Luffy, and more worried about his son, Usopp. Usopp was also surprised. He never expected that the first time his son offered a reward, it would be 400 million Baileys, which was much better than himself. And the ability is also sniping, which makes Usopp very gratified. Usopp looks forward to, son, I believe that one day you can surpass me and become the world's #1 sniper. Reikulu also agreed. We also indirectly helped Luffy and the others, but it won't last long. I hope that when Marine fights Luffy and the others again, they can gather more powerful partners, which will be safer. Although he said that, his heart was a little heavy. After all, he was facing two admirals. If it's them Red Hair Pirates, it's nothing to face two admiral, even three admiral, it's hard to win them. After all, among the four emperors, only they, the Red Hair Pirates, are a ship of two emperors. Although Beckman is not the four emperors, but the deputy captain, his strength is not much different from that of the redhead. However, if the Straw Hats are concerned, they feel it is very dangerous. In this sea, apart from the four emperors, which pirate group can withstand the attack of two admiral? Obviously not. However, they still underestimated the Straw Hats and, to be precise, Luffy. Even Marine is underestimated, which is why Luffy says the bounty is low. Luffy's current strength, becoming the 5th Emperor of the Sea, has no problem at all. On the Merry, Luffy was not in a hurry, and it would not be long before he became the 5th Emperor. At this point, Robin entered the teaching space. The teaching template Robin chose was Kaido. After all, when it comes to teaching fruit development, Teacher Kai is very strong. Therefore, Robin's flower fruit ability will definitely be developed better. As for the second template, the chosen Garp template, flower fruit combined with the powerful Taiju, Haki, will be stronger. After leaving Sky Island, Robin entered. He did not enter before, mainly because Robin was going to Sky Island to see the historical text. Now that I have seen it, I also know that everyone basically becomes stronger because of the teaching space, and they really want to become stronger. Because to seek the truth, strong strength is necessary. Although the partners are very strong, but I can't be too far behind. After the voyage, past the Marine Fortress, the Long Chain Island adventure. It can be used as a tour, it is not boring, but it is good to play. If it is an adventure, in terms of combat, it is boring. After all, the Straw Hats are too powerful now. At this time, the Merry approached the capital of Seven Waters. It has been 2 months since I left Sky Island, and Robin is coming out too. Whoosh! In the next instant, Robin appeared. After appearing, the first feeling, the change in momentum, you can know that it is stronger. Then, the appearance is more beautiful, and the Hungarian is also bigger. Robin is excited, teaching the practice of space, too strong. The teaching template has a strong teaching ability, which can be said to be full of teaching. For the development of flower fruit, as well as Haki's master, the master of physical art, it has been greatly improved. Robin felt that his current strength, on the boat, would not be a hindrance. Luffy is very curious about the development of Robin flower fruit ability. After all, there is Mr. Kai. Involuntarily, Luffy thought of Senju Hashirama in Hokage. Robin, you must be strong too. Nami looked forward to. After all, after he went in and out, he became stronger. And Robin is a fruit person. Before entering, Robin will be stronger than himself. I used to be better than Robin because Robin hadn't practiced yet. Now that he came out, Nami felt that Robin was definitely better than himself. Robin was happy and nodded. It has benefited a lot and has improved a lot. It's inevitable, Usopp said. At the same time, everyone is fortunate that Luffy has such a special ability, otherwise, it would be extremely dangerous for them to go all the way to the present. An admiral can easily destroy them. Although their combat power has improved greatly, they know that the future will be more difficult and they will not relax. After Robin came out, Luffy and the others told Robin about their 2-month adventure, interesting things they encountered, what happened, and the game of Long Chain Island. Robin listened very interestingly, and regretted not being able to be together. Nami said, "It's okay, the adventures in the future can be experienced together all the time, except for Luffy before, each of us has been in for 2 months, and we have also missed some voyages, which is inevitable." Robin nodded, but suddenly shivered. "Here is," Nami said. "I don't know exactly, but an island of the world government seems to be nearby." Robin's heart skipped a beat. The Enies Lobby was nearby. An organization belonging to the world government. But after thinking about it, my current strength and everyone's strength are very strong, so maybe there is no need to worry. Robin's inner appraisal. I will try my best not to leave everyone, but if Robin is worried about one thing, the world government will definitely continue to arrest him. Now that they are all powerful, then the world government will also make changes and send a more powerful presence. If a more powerful presence comes, and it is Luffy and they are difficult to deal with, and even dangerous, Robin will choose to leave without dragging Luffy and them. If it is still the original strength of Enies Lobby, Robin feels that it is not necessary. Luffy could see the worry in Robin's heart. Luffy determined in his heart that no matter what kind of change or what kind of combat power came, he would not let Robin have any trouble. At this time, passing by a small room on the sea, I met Zimoni and her mother-in-law, Kokolo. Just now, he was almost hit by a long, fast-moving ship, Nami asked. "Zimone, was that a steamship just now? But it's strange how it sailed." Chimoni said. "It's not surprising that you haven't seen it before, after all, even if you search all over the world, it's only here." This surprises Nami at all. Is this only one? So strange, they just had to take a look. Luffy naturally knew what it was, not a steamship, but a sea train. Zimoni introduced. It was a sea train, called Smoky Tom. It was propelled by steam power and traveled along the sea track. Usopp was stunned and puzzled. Orbital. Yes, a little bit below the sea. The trains travel the same section every day, transporting passengers from island to island. Also carrying ships, cargo, mail packages, etc. It's amazing, it's amazing. Nami and others were surprised, and at the same time they thought it was very interesting and learned a lot, which is also a meaning of sailing adventure. Kokoro suggested, "You can take a ride and experience it. The islands you go to include the capital of the Spring Queen, St. Poplar, the food town Buchi, and the carnival town, St. Fart, all of which are very good. If it is related to world government people, there is another special train." Nami thought Luffy would say something soon, feel it, and then go to Food Town, but it was a surprise to find that Luffy didn't say anything. Nami asked, "Want money?" "Definitely." Nami lost interest. "We have a boat, so let's not go, we will go according to the record pointer." Zimoni wondered, "Where does that point?" "We know it well enough to see where it is." "East," KK Luo said. "That is the capital of Seven Waters, it is also a good place, and it is the most developed city in the shipbuilding industry, the world's first." This made Luffy look forward to. So, gathered a lot of the world's strongest ship repair craftsmen. Kokoro nodded. Yes, Luffy decided. Then, go to the Seven Waters, I'm going to find a ship repairer to be my partner. Nami et al. Also feel that it is indeed necessary and essential. KK Luo said enthusiastically. I'll give you a map of the Seven Waters, and a letter of introduction. You can find them when you arrive, and they will help you repair the boat. Luffy thanked. Thank you, Granny Coco, it's so kind of you to think of us like this. Immediately, Luffy and others boarded the ship, and the Mary sailed eastward, approaching the capital of Seven Waters. Standing on the bow, Luffy's eyes were fixed and he thought to himself. The world government will act, and not only CP9, maybe, there will be CPO. But, no matter what, it will not let you succeed. Luffy determined in his heart that no matter how powerful Enies Lobby is next, or how unexpected it will be the same as the original plot, and it will be successful. The original CP9 combat power, there is no pressure, if you join other powerful combat power, then fight with all your strength. No matter what, Luffy is not afraid, even looking forward to it. Hope Enies Lobby, it's not too boring. Luffy hopes that he can fight as much as he can, so that maybe after the Enies Lobby incident, he can become the 5th Emperor of the Sea. Although it is through transmigration to become Luffy, I understand the plot, but I also know that some changes will occur due to the butterfly effect. So, Luffy is looking forward to, what kind of unknown, we'll soon know. Battle of the Enies Lobby, the Straw Hats, here we come. Chapter 71. Soon, close to the capital of Seven Waters. After getting close, they saw the Seven Waters from a distance, and everyone was stunned, their eyes lit up. Because the capital of Seven Waters is so beautiful, when viewed from a distance, it looks like a huge fountain. All the buildings and houses in the Seven Waters city are like being built on a large fountain, which is amazing and worthy of being a city of water. Chopper exclaimed, "It's amazing, there is a lot of water, where does the water in the pipes around the Seven Waters come out?" Nami praised, "It's so beautiful." Robin sighed, "It's very interesting that the water seems to be spewed from the fountain and then flows through the tank to the sea." The Mary sailed and entered the river in the Seven Waters. Luffy and others admired the surrounding buildings along the way, which was very beautiful. The whole city gives people a refreshing and warm feeling, and I really want to stay here. Before long, the river became narrower and narrower, and the boats had to stop. Luffy, Nami, and Usopp found a small duck-like boat and headed to the shipyard. On the Mary, Sanji turned around and asked, "Green Algae Head, Robin, didn't see her." Zoro was lying on the deck, basking in the sun, ready to rest, idly opening his eyes. "She wasn't there, just went out with Chopper." Sanji felt bored when he paused for 5, 6, 7, what? Going out? Well, they said they wanted to buy something. Sanji has a headache and doesn't want to be on the boat anymore. "So you're the only guy on the boat, what a boring space." Zoro nodded lightly. "I feel the same." Sanji prepares to disembark. "Okay, I'm leaving too, to buy some things, I'll leave you alone to watch the boat." Zoro didn't say anything, closed his eyes and fell asleep. Sanji couldn't wait, fantasizing, with a heart in his eyes. The city of Seven Waters, the city of water, will there be many bikini girls? Thinking of this, Sanji's nose was a little hot, and he couldn't wait, and quickly ran off the boat. At this time, the three of Luffy had come to the top of the fountain, that is, the upper floor of the Seven Waters, the center street of the shipyard. The three of Luffy went to the street. In the distance, they saw a group of people watching something, crowding on both sides of the street, very excited and cheering. "Look, it's Mr. Lu Chi, so handsome. Isn't Barry here? Lulu is there too. She looks very sophisticated. Although her name is a bit special, she looks like a man among men. It's still my full name, Bipoli Lulu is better." After the three of Luffy approached, Usopp asked curiously, "Uncle, what happened before?" Luffy had already guessed it, they might not be far away, CP9. The uncle on the side of the road said, "Just now, there were pirates making trouble in the number 1 dock, and they repaired the boat. They didn't intend to give money to make trouble, so they were beaten up. It's really ignorant and stupid. The shipyard repairs the pirates. Naturally, there are thugs, and now everyone is watching them and cheering." This made Usopp understand, but they weren't that kind of pirates either, and they certainly wouldn't fight these people. Luffy looked over, and as he thought, it was Lucci and the others who were undercover in the shipyard. "Don't expose it now, sooner or later." And Lucci and others quickly noticed Luffy and others. As CP9, they didn't know those weak pirates, but Luffy and others, they recognized them at a glance. After all, the Straw Hats have become famous all over the world recently, and no one doesn't know that they have seen the bounty list of everyone in the Straw Hats. Especially when Nico Robin joined the Straw Hats, they paid more attention. When Lucci and the others saw it, their hearts were heavy. After all, the Straw Hats were too strong, and Admiral Aokiji couldn't take them down. Even if they were strong and confident, they weren't sure. After seeing Luffy, Lucci's heart is unbalanced. I have experienced those devilish trainings since I was a child, and the Straw Hat in front of me is younger than me, but stronger than me. Before, he thought it was impossible, but Admiral couldn't win, he believed it a little. However, Lucci wanted to fight with the Straw Hat more, to see for himself how strong the Straw Hat is, and to see how big or small the gap between him and him is. Fighting is inevitable, but Lucci knows, not now. As long as Nico Robin is in the Straw Hats, there is bound to be a fight because they have to catch Nico Robin. Unless, the Straw Hats don't plan to control Nico Robin, but Lucci thinks the chance is very small, unless the Straw Hats are afraid. This point, Lucci thinks it is possible, because soon the world government will know that the Straw Hats are coming to the Seven Waters and meet them. While arresting Nico Robin and worrying that the Straw Hats would destroy their undercover plan's ultimate goal, Lucci felt that the world government would definitely send stronger forces over. After all, it was the Straw Hats with a total bounty of 4 billion Baileys. After looking at each other, Lucci calmly withdrew his gaze and left. The three of Luffy went to the shipyard and stopped paying attention to Lucci and others. After Lucci and others left, they found a private space and contacted the world government. Holy Land, the hall where Mariajoy, the five elders are located. The five elders already knew that the Straw Hats had gone to the Seven Waters, and began to negotiate. It can't be ignored, lest this mission fail, the undercover has been there for so long, can't fail, must succeed. Well, and also grab Nico Robin, just right, this time we have to deal with the Straw Hats. Although Redhead is about to meet Whitebeard, there will be a threat, but it's enough to leave it to Marine. They can't do anything with the Straw Hats in the near future, so leave it to the world government. So, which forces will be sent over? Since Kuzan couldn't take them down, the Straw Hats are really strong and can't be underestimated. So, send CPO over there. After the decision, the five elders all agreed. It is no exaggeration to send CP0 to deal with the Straw Hats in the past. If it is other Nova pirates, it is enough for them to deal with CP9 Luki, but the Straw Hats are different and can only be CPO. And the capital of Seven Waters, for their world government, there are two major events that must be successful. Pluton's design drawing, Nico Robin, the son of the devil, all have to succeed, so, without hesitation, choose to dispatch CP0. Even though they knew that the Straw Hats were unusual, after making the decision, they were relieved, as if the victory was in their hands, the Straw Hats would definitely be won. City of Seven Waters, best result, catch Nico Robin, get Pluton blueprint, take Straw Hat crew. Worst result, grab Nico Robin, get Pluton blueprint. Oh, worst result, why is there less Straw Hat crew? Because, once they know it's the CP0 action, they will choose to give up the devil's son who brings bad luck to anyone and choose to leave. There is a possibility, after all, it is a CP0. In the face of the highest combat power under our world government, the Straw Hats have to weigh it. I bet they will choose to give up. After all, there is still a long way to go, and they will not make a stupid decision to fight against Marine, the highest combat power of the world government. The five elders all felt that this time, they would succeed in at least two things. If the Straw Hats didn't interfere, it would be fine. If they interfered, they would win both. It's not that they despise the Straw Hats, they also understand the rewards offered by the Straw Hats because of their belief in CPO. CP0, an organization directly under the world aristocracy, Celestial Dragons, is known as the strongest shield of Celestial Dragons, and is the strongest cipher pole in the world. 0. Responsible for protecting Celestial Dragons, and the status of Celestial Dragons, the whole world knows, it is conceivable that CP0 is powerful. After making a decision, Lucci was contacted. After Lucci was connected, his voice was respectful. Five elders. It has been decided that even the Straw Hats must succeed, so they will send a stronger force to the past. If there is a conflict and they are hindered, they will support you. Lucci originally wanted them to try it first, but this was too important, so he told the Straw Hats to come. Although I was supported, I lost face, but I had to accept support. Against the Straw Hats, they are really not sure about CP9. Although he is confident in his own strength, Lucci will not be arrogant. Lu Qi asked. Which agency to send to support? CP0. Hearing this, Lu Qi froze in his heart, the strongest shield of celestial dragons. Celestial dragons are basically weak chickens, but they have high status and need to be protected. CP0 is responsible for protecting celestial dragons. Lu Qi's goal is to become a CPO member. Even his current strength is not enough, so it can be imagined that the strength of the CPO members is stronger than the weakest. But Lu Qi felt that if he practiced for another 2 years, he would definitely become a CP0. Lu Qi was inexplicably relieved. The task must be completed, and after seeing the Straw Hats coming, he had to admit that he was overwhelmed. Lu Qi intends to ask one last question. 5 elders, CP0, how many are you sending? 5 elders squeaked. 2 groups. This shocked Lu Qi's heart, 2 groups. He knows that CP0s are usually in groups of 3, that is to say, 6 CPO members are sent to support. After hanging up the phone, Lu Qi was completely relieved. He didn't expect the 5 elders to send 6 directly. It seems that he attaches great importance to this mission and must succeed. And, to be able to kill Straw Hats this time, it should be killed. Lu Qi decided in his heart. I won't let you down. Pluton's blueprints must be obtained. Nico Robin must be caught. The Straw Hats, if they choose to interfere, they will also perish. Thinking of this, Lu Qi thought to himself. Then, at that time, the Straw Hats, will you care about this devil's son, choose to stay away from abandoning this unfortunate star, or interfere and bring you the bad luck of perdition? Even if you know what the interference is going to face, you will be afraid to back down. However, Luffy didn't know. Luffy was looking forward to it at this time. The world government should know through Lu Qi. Then, what kind of combat power will they send to support the Enies Lobby? Whether they can be crowned emperor or not depends on their combat power. It has been 3 days since I came to the capital of 7 waters. Luffy met Iceberg, Barry, Frankie. And, at this time, Bally and the others have already seen the Mary. Barry frowned slightly. This ship is not easy to repair. Luffy, Usopp, and Nami were together. Usopp's face changed greatly when he heard this. It's not easy to repair, what do you mean? Barry said bluntly. It is difficult to repair, that is to say, it is better not to repair, because it is very difficult to repair. Hearing this, Luffy's face sank. Make changes, including any tragedy, and of course the Mary. As they become stronger, the wear and tear of the Mary will be smaller, and Luffy doesn't think it will be enough to change ships. Usopp was puzzled. Don't be kidding, aren't you very good ship repairers? We give as much money as we want, it's all here. All the treasures captured during this period have been replaced by Bailey. There are 3 boxes in total, as many as 600 million. Bally said solemnly. If it is repaired, it will be very difficult. Even if it is repaired, it will be replaced in the future, because the structure is there and cannot withstand the risk of your level. Therefore, it is better to replace it now, and the long pain is not as short as the short one. Stop kidding, it's impossible. Usopp firmly disagreed. Luffy frowned slightly and asked, it's difficult to repair. Even if it is repaired, it will have to be replaced sooner or later. So, what if it is remodeled? Hearing this, Bally and Iceberg looked at each other and transformed. Luffy said, it's better to remodel and make the Mary even more perfect. Barry sighed. It's better to change the 17 to rebuild a new one, which can save a lot of money. It's too troublesome to rebuild, let alone a ship of this level. It's like cutting hair, it's extremely ugly, and it even becomes how can you cut a bald head to look better? You can only wait for it to grow out and cut it again, so you understand. Luffy is serious. Although the Mary is a ship, it is also our partner, and we can't wait for her to die. Let's remodel. No matter how troublesome and how much money we spend, we must do it. Bingshan said. Actually, the transformation is equivalent to a new ship, and it will be very different. However, the 3 of Luffy said in unison. Even so, Mary is still there. Seeing that Luffy and others were so determined, they also understood the iceberg. Okay, we will try our best to transform it, and make it better, not to perfunctory you. Try to transform it like the new ship we want to build for you, but it still has a part of your current ship. You're Mary, and how about the new fusion that has been transformed? Usopp hesitated. Luffy made a decision. Luffy decided, Usopp didn't say anything, maybe it was the best way to do it. Although it will change a lot, as long as they know in their hearts, it is still melee, and it is acceptable to integrate into the new one. Luffy has already thought about it, the Mary is still the Mary, but the new remodel is part of the new ship. Sunny is also a partner. Soon, Frankie and the others began to map the remodeled ship. Soon, the drawing is done, and show them to Luffy. They were all satisfied. In Luffy's view, it was no stranger to the Sunny. Luffy suggested, when the ship is remodeled, let's change the name. This made Usopp's face change. Change the name? No, 99. Luffy explained, it's not a complete change. It's like remodeling the Mary. It's still the Mary, but there are also some new and big changes, which are integrated. Then the name, let's also merge. This made Usopp understand, and what he thought was a complete name change, said how could Luffy do this? For the feelings of Mei Lee, everyone is no less than themselves. Usopp asked, so, what's the name of the fusion? Luffy suggested, let's call it the Sunny Mary. Sunny, it's meant to be like the sun, calm and happy, across the cruel sea. Both Usopp and Nami felt good. Luffy said, then when Sanji, Zoro, Chopper, Robin and the others come, tell them, let's decide together. In Luffy's opinion, this is the perfect way to meet Sunny without having to say goodbye to Mary. It's best to have both. For the past 3 days, the three of Luffy have been together, and have not seen Robin, Chopper and them. Sanji didn't know if he was with Robin, Chopper, Luffy was sure, and Zoro watched from the boat. Now it's time to start rebuilding the ship, and Zoro doesn't need to continue watching the ship, so here it is. Well, Luffy thinks, Sanji must be with Robin, Chopper. In 3 days, what would happen, Luffy had no idea. But, Luffy has 2 thoughts. First, nothing happened, provided that the world government did not send a stronger force. Second, it happened, stronger combat power came, and together with CP9, Robin chose to leave after knowing it. Of these 2 ideas, Luffy felt the second was bigger. Although Luffy knew that the second one would be bigger, he didn't intervene, he let things take their course, and solved them instead of blocking them, which was completely unsolvable. It was night, and the 4 of Luffy went to rest. The next morning, something big happened and the iceberg was attacked. Iceberg called Luffy them, and declared it was Nico Robin. This shocked everyone except Luffy, wondering why Robin would do this. Although they were enemies before, they are now partners. Robin doesn't believe it. Absolutely impossible, there is no reason for Robin to do it. Luffy condensed, let's find Robin. At this time, Sanji, Chopper also knew, and, indeed, separated from Robin for a while, and didn't know what Robin was going to do. Some time apart, the mayor just happened to be attacked, or Robin. However, Sanji and Chopper don't believe it. At this time, in an alley, Sanji and Chopper suddenly stopped at the entrance of the alley, because footsteps came from the dark alley, and when they got close, they knew that it was Robin. Robin, Miss Robin, Sanji and Chopper shouted in unison. Robin stopped and didn't come out. He was still in the dark alley. 1 step ahead was the ground illuminated by the sun, but instead of moving forward, it was deep darkness. Sanji asked in confusion, Miss Robin, where have you been? We've been looking for you for a long time. Everyone is worried about you. Let's go back to the hotel and talk slowly. However, Robin was silent. Sanji said, Miss Robin, why don't you come out? Forget it, let's go over. Robin spoke, his tone a little indifferent. No need, just stay there. This made Sanji stunned. His tone was not like a joke, but extremely serious. As if you don't do it yourself, something will happen. Sanji stopped, more and more puzzled, and a little panic in his heart, afraid that it was the last thing he wanted. Sanji and Chopper stared blankly at Robin in the dark alley, waiting for Robin to explain why. Looking at Sanji and Chopper who were stunned and puzzled, Robin felt pain in his heart, but he was indifferent on the surface. I won't go back to you again, just say goodbye here. Sanji was stunned. Miss Robin, what are you talking about? Stop joking. Oh, by the way, is it something in the newspaper? Don't worry about that kind of thing, we won't believe it if other people don't care. Pirates are wronged, it's normal, it's normal. However, Robin said bluntly, I'm sorry to have you carry such a non-existent thing on your back. This made Sanji and Chopper sink. Why would they say such a thing? The two became more and more uneasy and looked sluggish. Robin continued bluntly. For me, it was a real report. It was me who invaded the mayor's room last night. Chopper and Sanji froze in place. They couldn't believe it, they didn't want to believe it. Chopper's eyes are blank. How is it possible? Robin continued to be indifferent. I have darkness that you don't know. The darkness will destroy you one day. Even if you are strong, you are not indestructible. You just started, so just keep going. Now, I think if you are charged with the crime and run away by yourself, the situation will get worse. Sanji didn't want to believe it. No, it's impossible. Why would you do something like that? Why? You don't need to know this. Sanji was hit hard, his hands shaking while holding the cigarette, and he screamed. Miss Robin, I don't know what you're talking about, what's going on? Sanji wanted to know, there must be a reason. Chopper didn't want this, and shouted, Robin, let's go back together. Robin stood indifferently in the dark alley and shook his head, very decisive. From today, I won't see you again, thank you for taking care of me all the time, and say goodbye. When the words fell, Robin turned around, walked into the darkness alone, and disappeared into the darkness. The surroundings fell silent. Chopper and Sanji froze in place, unacceptable. I thought to myself, it's not real, it's definitely not real, is it a dream, how could this happen? Impossible. However, the footsteps echoing in the alley told them that it was true. Footsteps further and further told them that Robin was leaving them. Sanji and Chopper try to catch up, but Robin, who is far away, opens his mouth. If you want to chase me, I can't stop it. Although he has become stronger, he can't do anything if Sanji and Chopper stay. However, Robin's voice was resolute. If you want to stop me, I will fight you to the death, you don't want to do this. This made Sanji and Chopper stunned, the tone, the demeanor, not joking. The footsteps echoed again, farther and farther, until they disappeared. Sanji and Chopper stood there, lost in thought. Then, Luffy found out. Not surprisingly. Then, let's see, what kind of combat power has come, so that Robin still makes such a decision. Enies Lobby, here comes the Straw Hats. Luffy and the others assembled, ready to go to the Enies Lobby. At the same time, Robin came to the room where the iceberg was. Because, the design drawings taken before are fake. Robin pressed the iceberg to the ground with his ability, unable to move, and looked indifferent. Bingshan regarded death as a return, and resolutely said, I will not give you the real design, even if I die, I will not give it. There is one thing I don't understand, you are looking for the historical text everywhere, but now you are helping the world government, why, I have to stop you. Robin said bluntly, I am looking for the historical text, not to revive the ancient weapon, I just want to know the history. Bingshan said solemnly, your argument is meaningless at all, why do you have to look for it? If you don't understand, I must find it, everyone in Ohara has been obliterated by the world government, so I must find it. Iceberg could hear Robin's hatred for world conquest and was puzzled. Why help them when you hate them so much? What about your mates? Robin looked very determined. I have to leave them. Before, I only had one dream. Now, I have one more. Since I can't achieve the first, I will achieve the second. The iceberg was very puzzled. Why? Your companions will definitely find you, and you should be very clear. Hearing this, Robin's face became extremely heavy. Tell them not to look for me, definitely not. Robin's voice was extremely firm, and he didn't want to. Iceberg frowned. Why, your friends are all very strong, I have heard of the Straw Hat Pirates. Recently, the sea has become famous, and Luffy's bounty is even more than 1.3 billion Bailey. Why, if you have something to say, why did? Hearing now, the iceberg is completely understood, Robin must have difficulties. Robin's face became extremely heavy. CP9 has the right to launch a buster call against the Straw Hat Pirates. Hearing this, Iceberg's complexion changed dramatically. Buster Call, of course he knew it. Buster Call is a military operation, established by the Marine Headquarters authorized by the world government, to carry out indiscriminate and destructive attacks on the areas where the signal is sent, and to completely remove the things and people in an area that threatens the world government's rule. Buster Call is an inhuman attack that burns everything, consisting of 10 ships and an elite force of 5 vice admiral and marine. The ships that carry out the Buster Call are the strongest and most aggressive in the marine. They are all built by the Royal Shipyard Water 7, and their quality is unquestionable. There are about 1,000 marines on each warship. Moreover, the 5 vice admiral are not ordinary vice admiral, they are all very famous among vice admiral, and can even be said to be 5 elite vice admiral. This is the reason why Iceberg's face changed drastically, and he actually launched a Buster Call. However, Bingshan felt that it was okay. After all, it was the Straw Hat Pirates, with a total bounty of 4 billion Baileys. If they join forces, even CP9 and Buster Call can compete, right? Bingshan said solemnly. Why don't you try to fight, just to not implicate them? They will definitely find you, even if it is Buster Call. Pipe. However, if it is Buster Call plus CP9, Robin can't leave. Seeing that Robin's face was still heavy, Iceberg asked, what else? Robin's face was extremely heavy, which made Iceberg see that there was more, and what was going to be said next was the most important thing. Robin sighed. I didn't want to say it, but I had to. Robin's face was extremely solemn, worried, and his voice was extremely heavy. Also, the strongest combat force under world conquest, the strongest shield of celestial dragons, CP0. Hearing this, Bingshan's face changed dramatically. The degree of shock is even greater than that of Buster Call just now. Bingshan also fully understood. No wonder, fully understand why Robin suddenly left without saying goodbye. It turned out to be CP0. CPO is very powerful. Since it is responsible for protecting celestial dragons and is known as the strongest shield of celestial dragons, the members of CPO must be masters, and their strength is far above CP9. The Straw Hats are strong, he knows it. Robin did this. He knew that he had difficulties, but he felt that CP9 and Buster Call were a little worse. Now he fully understands. But, even if it was CP0, it wouldn't be enough for Robin to leave without saying goodbye, so resolute. After all, Robin knew the strength of the Straw Hats better than himself. Well, there is only one possibility. Bingshan's face was also extremely heavy, and he asked worriedly, CPO members, how many are here? Robin frowned. Heavy, 6. What? Iceberg was shocked, and 6 came. This is what Iceberg didn't expect. I thought that a group of 3 people, plus CP9, Buster Call, would be used to deal with the Straw Hat group. But it turned out to be 6, so many. He felt that CP9's 7 combat powers could fight against the Straw Hat's 2 combat powers, Chopper and Nami. 6 CPOs, the 2 strongest against Luffy, and the remaining 4 against Zoro, Sanji, Usopp. Besides, there is Buster Call. Thinking about it this way, such a battle is indeed extremely dangerous for the Straw Hats. Iceberg couldn't believe it, but also knew that Robin wasn't joking with himself, not exaggerating to keep the Straw Hats from saving her, just such a battle. Iceberg frowned. Why send 6 at a time, have to get blueprints, and catch you? Robin solemnly said. There is another reason to solve the rapidly growing Straw Hats. For other reasons, Marine couldn't send 2 admirals to do it, so the world government came. Iceberg understands. After all, the Straw Hats are too dazzling. Such a rookie must be severely attacked, especially if an admiral could not be defeated. It stands to reason that the Straw Hats will face a more difficult and powerful battle. However, Marine didn't move during this time, so he couldn't be afraid and didn't want to take it. I get it now. Marine couldn't act, so he had to rely on the world government, so he directly sent 6 powerful CP0 forces over. At worst, get the blueprint and grab Robin. The best result is that if the Straw Hats want to intervene, the Straw Hats will also be resolved. Seeing the Iceberg pondering, his brows are getting tighter and tighter. Robin knows, he understands. You should fully understand, so, be sure to tell them, stop them, don't let them come to me. Iceberg sighed and said no more. Robin did not continue to control the iceberg, and the hand that bound the iceberg on the ground disappeared. The iceberg lay on the ground, did not stand up, and his face was drowsy. In this case, he completely understood. You just said that there was one dream, but now there are 2. So the first one is to know the truth of history, and the second one is to protect the partner, and don't want the Straw Hats to have an accident and be strangled in the Enies Lobby, right? As soon as these words came out, Robin was silent, or tacitly said. The iceberg is heavy. In this case, you will die. What about your first dream, isn't it going to come true? Robin shook his head, although he wanted to, he knew it was impossible. Quote. For 20 years, no matter what the situation is, I have survived because I have nothing to protect. I can betray everyone and use them as a shield. But now I can't do it. It is everyone who saves the life I once gave up, awakened the soul I once lost, and made me regain my dream of falling into the end. I have partners who can trust me. I don't want to see them being strangled. I hope they can go on forever, don't end up failing like me. Robin clenched his fists, hiding his sadness, hoping, I hope that Luffy will become One Piece, Nami will draw a complete map, Sanji will find all blue, Zoro will become the world's greatest swordsman, Usopp will become a brave sea warrior, and Chopper will develop a panacea in the future. I hope that they can all fulfill their dreams. My most hope is that the Straw Hat Crew 6 can leave this island safely and continue sailing. When the words fell, Robin turned and left. Iceberg was silent, and when Robin was about to leave the room, he said, I will try my best to persuade them not to go to you. Robin paused, stopped at the door, and thanked him sincerely, thank you. Immediately, Robin left. Hey, after fully understanding, the iceberg sighed. It turned out that Robin left without saying goodbye because of this. Iceberg left the room, and went to the shipyard to find Luffy and others. They had to be told, because Iceberg knew, Luffy they were going. With such a powerful force, Li Wangjiao must stop them, otherwise even their lives will be in danger. Robin doesn't want them to die here, and neither do I. Although they spend time together, he, Frankie, Barry, and the Straw Hat are already friends. Such dangers must be told to them. Soon, Iceberg finds Luffy them. I have something to tell you about why Nico Robin left without saying goodbye. Immediately, Luffy and the others fell silent. Even Luffy would love to hear it. Iceberg began to tell. Frankie, Barry's face changed dramatically, shocked, heavy. CP9, Buster Call, and even CP0 were dispatched, but they were still 6 powerful combat powers, which was outrageous. In order to kill the Straw Hats, the world government made up its mind. Totally got it, no wonder Robin did it. However, the Straw Hats, Luffy, Zoro, Nami, Sanji, Usopp, and Chopper did not change their expressions from beginning to end. Knowing the cause and effect, the 6 of Luffy stood up from the sofa and walked out of the door side by side. This made Iceberg, Frankie, and Barry all stunned. Bingshan asked in confusion, where are you going? The next moment, the 6 people stopped and spoke in unison. Go to Enies Lobby. Bring Robin back. Hearing this, Bingshan's face changed greatly. I can't go, I tell you this, I just don't want you to go. The opponent is too powerful and too powerful. Even you, it will be very dangerous. I thought that Luffy and the others would retreat, but they left without saying a word and wanted to bring Robin back. Then, you will face CP9, Buster Call, and the powerful combat power of 6 CP0s. If this is the case, it may really be stifled. Bingshan persuaded. This is not what Robin hopes. He hopes that you will not interfere, continue to sail, and complete your dreams. Stop talking. Luffy's voice sank suddenly, and Iceberg's words stopped abruptly. Luffy said sternly, you can't save your buddies. If you give up, what dreams are you talking about? This made the Iceberg shake and go silent. All right, I got it. Bingshan knew, but couldn't persuade them, and said to himself, sorry, Nico Robin, I can't stop them. You can't stop it, you can only help and do what you can. That is to provide the boat and let Luffy and others get to the Enies Lobby. Naval Headquarters. Garp's face was heavy. He knew that a Buster Call would be dispatched, and he was already dispatched. As long as the Straw Hats choose to interfere, CP9, CP0, and Buster Call will work together. Such a battle is extremely powerful, and even an Imperial regiment has to be weighed. Luffy's character, Garp knew, would definitely interfere, so that's why he was heavy. Garp asks, Sengoku, why are you still launching a Buster Call? Whitebeard and Redhead are about to meet, don't keep fighting. Sengoku said, we will meet soon, but there should be no action in a short time, and the Buster Call is launched to deal with the Straw Hats. The headquarters also has a strong backbone and tens of thousands of Marines, which is enough. The most important thing is shock and awe, so that the Straw Hats would not dare to intervene. If intervened, the Buster Call will not be consumed. After all, there are CP0 and 5 elite Vice Admiral. Therefore, when the Buster Call is launched, it will act on the premise of no casualties, so that in the future even if Redhead and Whitebeard made trouble and got back in time with no casualties. This made Garp understand, frowning, knowing that it was impossible to change. It is also true that there are CP0, 5 elite Vice Admiral, CP9, Buster Call. It is impossible for this lineup to be destroyed. Garp prayed in his heart, "Luffy, I hope you're safe." Garp knew that this was the most dangerous battle the Straw Hats had ventured so far. There is bound to be a fight, and there will be interference. After one day, CP06 Combat Power, CP9 Lucci and other 7 people in the Enies Lobby high-rise conference room. They all determined one thing: the Straw Hats did not dare to come. If it comes, it will surely perish. At that time, Buster Call, and their combat power, attacked from inside and outside. Although the Straw Hats are powerful, but only 6 people, how to fight? I bet they wouldn't dare to come. One of the CPO members is confident. Even if it comes, it will perish. I hope they come and kill them by the way. It's really not easy, and I can't let it go. Whether it is CP0 or Lucci and others, they all feel that this time, they will all succeed. Either successfully get the blueprint and solve Nico Robin. Either add one more, and that is to solve the Straw Hat Pirates. Just then, an Enies Lobby sailor came to report. The Straw Hat crew is here, and has already sent troops to stop it, but it can't stop it, and it is rapidly approaching the building. Understood, let's go. So, Straw Hat crew. Come on, we'll fix it. They didn't have the idea of going there in person, which made the Marines understand. Isn't the Buster Call coming yet? I don't know, it stands to reason that it should be here. I thought that Buster Call would come beforehand and rely on Buster Call to solve them, but now it seems that we may have to do it ourselves. However, the Buster Call should have arrived now, and there is a reason why it was late. Half an hour ago, Buster Call is mighty, heading to the Enies Lobby. At the same time, Bentham and his men sailed past and saw this scene. From a distance, although they were pirates, Buster Call did not come. Ah, it's Buster Call. Whoever is going to start a Buster Call will be unlucky. Neither do anything to us, nor approach us. Bentham let one of his subordinates, the people of the Long-Eared tribe, have the title of Shunfang. This subordinate did hear the conversation and knew it was aimed at the Straw Hat crew. This made Bentham's face change, and he was going to catch Straw Hat crew, which was Buster Call. Let's leave it alone, the Straw Hats are strong. However, the subordinates' faces changed dramatically. And CP9, and CP0. This made Bentham's face heavy, and the faces of his subordinates were extremely ugly. Such a battle is really dangerous. Even for the Straw Hats with a bounty of 4 billion, it is still difficult to face Buster Call plus CP9 plus 6 CP0 combat power. We can't think of a way, the gap in strength is too big. However, at this moment, Bentham was standing on the bow, like a woman, but also a man at this time. Of course I'll help. The Straw Hats are my benefactors, friends. Ah, how can I help? Bentham had already figured it out, and quickly let his subordinates dress up, imitating Zoro, Sanji, and others of the Straw Hats. Bentham, on the other hand, has become Luffy's face, with white swan wings hanging behind him, and his body and clothes are still his own. But, that's enough. Okay, to the Buster Call, onward. Bentham ordered, resolutely, not afraid at all. Most pirates see Buster Call and run away in fright, however, they have to get close to Buster Call. Moreover, they still pretended to be Straw Hat crew, which let them know that it was even more dangerous, and they would definitely be arrested. However, it was resolutely passed. After approaching, it caught the attention of Buster Call. It was originally ignored, but it was found that something was wrong. Several figures on the boat were somewhat familiar. As that, the Straw Hat Pirates. Pirate ship, the flag is wrong. But, it's them. Look carefully. On the bow, Bentham stood up, fearing that no one would know, and shouted, "The Straw Hat Luffy you're looking for is right here, it's me." This caught Buster Call's attention, and although he was stunned, he immediately turned around. Bentham naturally let his men start turning the rudder and fleeing at full speed. On the Buster Call, the vice admirals looked ugly. Is this the Straw Hats? They're so arrogant, they're not afraid of Buster Call. Yes, taking the initiative to come, but staying away, this is a challenge to us. Is this the Straw Hat group with a total reward of 4 billion Baileys? It's not surprising that they dare to provoke us. After all, it's them. Just frustrate their spirit and chase. Arrest them directly, no need to rely on CP0. Buster Call's lineup, plus our 5 elite vice admiral, still dare to do this, although it is the Straw Hats who have recently gained fame, but for us, it is too shameful and must be caught. For a time, Buster Call turned around and chased after him. Bentham looked back, relieved, not frightened, but delighted. Ha ha ha, they got fooled, sailing at full speed, the longer the better, it's better to take them away. Yes, however, the speed of the Buster Call warship is still underestimated. Although his ship is fast, the Buster Call is faster. And, under the orderly command, the warship spread out in an encircling shape. The encircling circle gradually narrowed, and soon, the direction of sailing became narrower and single. If it goes on like this, it will soon be surrounded. We're done. We have no regrets. Bentham knew, too, that he couldn't escape and would be caught soon. Keep going at full speed. It would be good to drag it for a while, but soon, it was surrounded by 10 warships from all directions. The shells were all aimed, and Bentham remained unafraid. 5 elite vice admiral ready to go. Let's get a feel for their strength. Naturally, but let's bombard it first, so that the Straw Hats of the capable ones will lose their combat power, and we can relax a bit. Okay, let's strike first. However, when he was about to fire, Bentham touched his face with his left hand, returning to his own form. This made Marine and the 5 elite vice admiral sluggish. What happened? Changed. Looking at the stunned 10,000 Marine elite and 5 elite vice admiral, Bentham felt that he was so handsome that he lied to all Marines, and there were 5 powerful soldiers. Bentham sneered. Ha ha ha, are you fooled? I'm an expert in transformation, and I'm also a friend of the little Straw Hats. This made Marine feel pranked and angry, especially the elite 5 vice admiral, who gritted his teeth angrily, clenched his fists tightly, his body was trembling. Buster Call was tricked by a little pirate, or this kind of guy, shame. Bentham turned, his back to Marine, his left hand on his chest, his right hand stretched diagonally upward to the right, his legs bent, and he spoke charismatically. It's the same thing when you walk the way of a man, and it's the way of a woman. Only the way of man needs to follow the right way. Let it fade away, and let's go together under this sincere sky. Let it bloom, the way of the monster. Pink petals fall from the sky, falling around Bentham. At this moment, Bentham's men all cried, not because they were afraid, not because they would spend the rest of their lives in Impel Down, but because they didn't want the boss to be caught. But know that you can't escape. Bentham turned to face the 5 vice admiral, who, to their astonishment, shouted without fear. Let the horses come. Facing Buster Call, they shook the tree like a mayfly, but Bentham and his men all charged up with weapons. HMPH, it's too much. Although the task is important, it is too shameful. Just take a few seconds to take them down. Inevitably, send them to Impel Down. Make them regret the decision they made today for the rest of their lives. In less than a minute, Bentham and the others were taken down, and they contacted a nearby Marine to take them away and put them in Impel Down. Go to Impel Down for the rest of your life and regret it. This is their idea. Soon, however, they will regret putting Bentham et al. In Impel Down. Because, this will be the fuse of the Impel Down disaster. Enies Lobby. The 6 members of CPO frowned slightly. Buster Call hadn't come yet. They knew that the Straw Hat crew was approaching here. They don't want to deal with Straw Hat crew, they just want to complete the characters of world government, get the blueprint and solve it. Nico Robin. As for the Straw Hat crew, they thought, by Marine. After all, the Straw Hat crew's combat power is very strong. Although they dispatched 6 CPOs, they felt that they couldn't easily defeat the Straw Hat crew, and it would definitely cost a lot. After all, CPO's 6 people are not uniform in combat power. The captain led by this time is comparable to admiral in combat power. The remaining 5, the lowest elite vice admiral, the highest standard admiral. As for the Straw Hat crew, They knew that Zoro and Sanji, the two main members of the Straw Hat crew, might have quasi-admiral strength. Others, the lowest is also the elite vice-admiral, and even a little higher. As for the Straw Hat, I haven't seen his real full strength. The minimum is quasi-admiral, and it is even possible to be comparable to admiral. Thinking about it this way, they add CP9, and they have some advantages at most, but not a big one. However, if there is Buster Call, it is an absolute advantage. If Buster Call didn't come, they didn't want to fight Straw Hat crew, they just wanted to complete those two missions. If Buster Call comes, it doesn't matter, after all, it will be easier. They are very easy, Celestial Dragon's shield, and Celestial Dragons who dare to hurt. So, it used to be easy. The Straw Hat crew is coming. Well, let Nico Robin talk to them, let them leave, and if they don't leave, they can delay until Buster calls. I asked just now, Buster Call was late because he was tricked by a group of pirates. What a joke, what kind of pirate did Buster Call play? I don't have any strength, but the leader is a clone fruit-capable person, so I deceived Buster Call and mistaken it for Straw Hat crew. But it has been arrested and sent to Impel Down. Looks like I met Straw Hat crew, and it's really a sense of loyalty, but I chose to delay the Buster Call. Soon, send them to meet at Impel Down. At this time, Luffy came to the square in front of the court first, jumped up, stood on the top of the stone pillar, and faced the building where Robin was at a close distance. Robin came out, his face heavy. Robin, great, you're fine. Luffy shouted at Robin who came out. Robin's heart is extremely heavy, and his expression is extremely complicated. Luffy was about to jump up and take Robin away. Robin knew that Luffy could easily come over on the moonwalk. Robin's eyes flashed with grief. Why did he come? Seeing Luffy about to charge, Robin yells to stop him. Wait. Luffy stopped. It seemed, to completely solve the problem, it would take a chat and a fight. Robin let himself be extremely indifferent, and said solemnly, I have said many times, I will not come back to you. Go back quickly, I don't want to see you people anymore. Why do you want to save me? I don't care at all. I don't want you to do this kind of thing. When will I ask you to do it? Speaking of which, Robin took a deep breath and shouted loudly, I already want to die. Swoosh swish. At this moment, several figures flickered. The seven of CP9, headed by Lucci, stood on the left of Robin. Another figure of six paths flickered, all dressed in white, standing on the right side of Robin, the six high combat power of CP0. Spandam watched the show from behind. Ha ha ha, the Straw Hat crew is having a conflict internally, so it's time to watch the show. At this time, Robin panicked, and CP9 Lucci and others came. On the right, there are six high combat powers of CPO. Soon, the sea ahead, Buster Call will come, and then it will be attacked from front and back. Robin's heart is heavy. They have to go quickly, or they will be implicated by me. At the same time, the sound of fighting behind Luffy died down. Obviously, all the Marines, Giants, etc. of the Enies Lobby have been dealt with. Luffy stood at the top of the stone pillar, stared at Robin, and asked, You want to die? Robin didn't hesitate. Yes. Luffy didn't care. Robin, what are you talking about? Don't be kidding, we're all here and we're going to save you. Swish swish swish. 5 figures jumped up and swept to the top of the stone pillars on the left and right sides of Luffy. Luffy and Usopp stand on top of a stone pillar with Sanji, Chopper on the left and Zoro, Nami on the right. All the members of the Straw Hats are here. Luffy said. So if you want to die, wait until we rescue you, then you can die. Besides, if you want to die, wait until you are by our side. This made Robin look stunned and sad. Why did he let himself go back so resolutely? CP9, CP0, and Buster Call, they'll die, I'll just die alone, you guys just leave. Robin was grief-stricken and worried, but Luffy they were still determined not to leave. Robin sinks into memories, recounting what happened to Ohara 20 years ago. Painful memories are revealed, indiscriminate bombing, huge troops, powerful combat power, the island is filled with smoke, such as hell. But now, the face is even more terrifying than before. Ohara's friends, her own mother, all died, and she was the only one left, and this time, she didn't want to do it again. After Robin finished speaking, he said solemnly, now you will face even more terrifying combat power. I finally met friends who can open up my heart and were threatened. The more I want to be with you, the more you will date by my fate. No matter how long I go on the sea, there is a huge enemy that I can't get rid of. Because my enemy is the world and its darkness. Aokiji this time, I have already involved you too. Again, if this kind of thing keeps happening, no matter how nice you guys are, you will treat me as a burden. Listening to Robin's words, this is why Luffy chooses to go with the flow, because the knot in his heart must be opened, otherwise he will still make such a choice when he encounters a stronger combat force in the future. So this time Enies Lobby, Luffy didn't keep an eye on Robin. Robin shouted in a deep voice, "At that time, you will definitely betray me and abandon me. This is what I am most afraid of. Therefore, I don't want you to save me at all. Anyway, I will die, so I just die here." Spandam laughed when he heard that. Ha ha ha, it turns out that this is the truth. Spandam looked at Robin and agreed. You're right, no idiot would be willing to be dragged down by you. Look at that flag, pirates. Spandam pointed to the white flag fluttering above the building and reminded. The mark on the flag is the symbol of the joint organization composed of the 4 seas of the world and the more than 170 countries that join the Grand Line. This is the world. I say this, you knowing how small you seem to be the enemy of it. Now, do you know what a huge organization this woman has been hunted down by for 20 years? Luffy nodded lightly. Well, I know who Robin's enemy is. Luffy looked at the flag and whispered, Usopp. There was no more to say, just his name, which Usopp understood. Clear. Instantly pull the slingshot. The moment you pull it, you have already aimed and launched it. Death. Firebird Star. The speed is so fast that even the 6 combat powers of CP0 are too late to stop it. Whoosh. The flames shot out, condensing the life like flamingos, and instantly pierced the white flag, burned it, and turned it into nothingness. Usopp said lightly, "It's done." The members of CP9 and CPO all looked ugly and frowned. The other remnants of the Enies Lobby looked up and couldn't believe it, they didn't expect to dare to do this. This means, that's. Spandam was horrified and asked in a low voice, "Do you know what this means? Did I just say it in vain? Or is it that you have a problem with your understanding, and you dare to do it?" "I don't understand." Luffy interrupted Spandam's words, and what he said made Spandam stop abruptly, horrified. Luffy said indifferently, "Isn't it just declaring war with the world government, what's the big deal?" This made Spandam's pupils shrink, and he suspected that he had heard it wrong. He said it in such an understatement, wasn't he just declaring war with the world government? He said it so easily. At this moment, on the sea behind, a mighty battleship sailed in, it was Buster Call. Spandam is excited. Ha ha ha, Buster Call is here too, then, regret the decision you made. CP9, Buster Call, plus CP0, you will die. All die here, you made the most stupid decision, now it's too late to regret it. Ha ha ha. Spandam picked up the binoculars and looked at it. Buster Call, the first time I saw it, it was like a battle is said. 10 top battleships, each with a lot of sailors, full of energy, each with 1,000 marine elites. The most forward battleship let me take a good look at the 5 vice admirals who were in the lead. After reading it carefully, Spandam was excited. Ha ha ha, you are going to be finished. The 5 vice admirals are Flying Squirrel, Huoshin, Doberman, Ghost Spider, Staloberry, not only vice admiral but also very much in vice admiral. Terrific existence. Straw Hat Crew, you are screwed. Ha ha ha. However, the Luffy 6 didn't look back at Buster Call, and Luffy ignored Spandam. Looking at all this, Robin was moved, sad, worried and many other emotions. Deep in his eyes, tears welled up, knowing that Luffy and the others couldn't leave. Looking at Robin, Luffy suddenly shouted, "Robin, I want to hear from you. Say you want to live." Zoro, Sanji, Nami, Usopp, and Chopper all stared at Robin, waiting for Robin's answer. Robin hesitated inwardly. Live. In his mind, some words from the former partner appeared. You shouldn't be in this world, Robin. Your very existence is sin, Robin. Hurry up and die. 9. Tears fell, and Robin said to himself, I thought I had no right to do this, and no one allowed me to live. Suddenly, in his mind, there were no longer the images of many people letting him die, but what Saul said to himself when Ohara appeared. One day, there will be companions who will protect you. In an instant, Robin burst into tears, looking at Luffy and the others who were standing opposite him, waiting for his answer. Robin lowered his head and murmured, If I can really promise an injustice, I. Robin raised his head sharply, tears welling up, and shouted loudly at Luffy and the others. I want to live. Take me to the sea too. Luffy grinned, turned around under the stunned eyes of everyone on the opposite side, and said something that shocked Robin, CP9, CP0, etc. Wait a minute, I'll fight off Buster Call first. Zoro, look, if they do it on Robin, do it. It is good. Luffy turned his back on Robin, and CP9, CP0. The words and actions shocked Robin. CP9 and CP0 the same, Spandam looked puzzled. What does he mean by that? Repel the Buster Call first. And look at the meaning, is it to fight off the Buster Call alone? Lucci frowned, surprised, it looks like it is. Spandam was stunned, then laughed. Ha ha ha, what a joke, I thought the Straw Hat crew teamed up to repel the Buster Call, but he was the one who fought back. How is it possible? What is the Buster Call? CPO members speak. If they fight back together, we will directly attack Nico Robin. Since we are alone, let's take a look first. After all, if we do it, the Straw Hat partners will also do it. Yeah, I'd love to see how he beats Buster Call by himself. Even the captain doesn't dare to say that. He is just a newcomer. Even the captain of the Straw Hats has a bounty of 1.3 billion Baileys, but it's impossible. It's ridiculous. I didn't choose to leave, but I was determined to take Nico Robin away, or, let's solve them together. Buster Call is here too, and with us, it won't be too hard to take down the Straw Hats. 5, 6, 7. The 6 people of CP0 had a lot of fighting spirit, but they didn't do it, but wanted to see how Straw Hat Luffy could defeat Buster Call by himself. They thought it was impossible, what a joke. Spandam thought it was impossible, and Lucci and the other 7 also thought it was impossible. Lucci looked at Luffy's back and frowned. Fighting Buster Call alone, what a joke, although I have a gap with you, it can't be that big. If the 4 emperors said this, Lucci felt that it was normal. If he was himself, facing 1/5 of the battle power of Buster Call, he would not be able to repel him alone. Straw Hat Luffy is stronger than himself, but he can't be that strong either. Zoro and the others have a fighting spirit, and Robin said that if you want to survive, you can start fighting. Now, Buster Call is handed over to Luffy, they are CP0, as long as they do something to Robin, they will do it. But now, if there is no intention of doing it, then they will not help Luffy, and just stand there. Although it sounded unbelievable to beat Buster Call by one person, Zoro and the others chose to believe it. Luffy turned around and faced the sea ahead, where the 10 battleships of Buster Call came in a mighty manner. With the arrival of Buster Call, the sky was dark and cloudy, and the weather was just overcast. Between heaven and earth, it was dark and depressing, and with the arrival of Buster Call, it became even more depressing. Robin worries. Luffy, on each battleship of the Buster Call, the Marines are ready to go, all the muzzles are aimed at the Enies Lobby Straw Hat crew, the shells are filled, and the Marines are holding guns, all aimed at the Straw Hats. For a time, 10,000 Marines turned their attention to Luffy and the nearly 100 powerful muzzles. On the deck of the battleship headed at the forefront, there are 5 Vice Admiral wearing white cloaks of justice, the 5 elite Vice Admiral of flying squirrels. Straw Hat crew chose to interfere, stupid decision. They will regret it. They are finished, there is CP0 in the front, Buster Call in the back, and there is no escape. Just send them in to impel down. It's weird that only Straw Hat Luffy is facing us, what does that mean? This makes them puzzled, but if they don't understand, they don't think too much, just catch them. After approaching, the battleship stopped in the sea, 100 meters away from the Enies Lobby. The flying squirrel asked the Marines to bring a loudspeaker, took it, and shouted at Luffy. Straw Hat crew, surrender, there is no point in fighting, you must be arrested by us this time. Luffy's hand suddenly stretched out and snatched the horn. This made Flying Squirrel frown slightly, and he didn't go to grab it, just to see how he responded. Luffy picked up the horn, ready to speak. This made everyone look over, wanting to see how Straw Hat Luffy responded. However, next, everyone was startled. Luffy's voice resounded through the loudspeaker. Buster Call, you retreat, I still have important things to do. This made Flying Squirrel and the other 5 Vice Admirals stunned, and all the Marine elites in Buster Call were also stunned. 5 Vice Admiral's face was ugly, and he didn't expect to say this. If it was a surrender, or a direct fight, it wouldn't be surprising, but they were asked to retreat. What are you kidding? What nonsense? Is he kidding us? Let's retreat. This is a Buster Call. Does he not understand the situation? It sounds like our presence will interfere a little bit with his important things. Yeah, that sounds too contemptuous. The Flying Squirrel sent another speaker and said solemnly, Straw Hat Luffy, what are you kidding? Let Buster Call retreat. Impossible. I came here to arrest you. The appearance of Buster Call is destruction, how can it be possible? Retreat, let alone retreat just because you are a pirate, that would be too shameful, and what will Buster Call's deterrent effect on the world be in the future? Luffy asked, aren't you going to retreat? Of course. The Flying Squirrel was very determined. At this point, Spandam burst into laughter. Ha ha ha, laughing to death, never made me laugh so many times like today, made Buster Call retreat. What a joke. Lucci and others, and CP0 all think it's ridiculous, is this Straw Hat Luffy stupid? Even Robin is puzzled, it sounds impossible, the horror of Buster Call, she knows. There are CP9, CP0, plus Buster Call's troops, firepower, and 5 Vice Admiral combat power, how can it be possible to retreat against the Straw Hats? If there is only one Buster Call, and the other party is the 4 Emperors, then this kind of words sounds like a reminder, a warning. But Luffy said it was a surprise. Luffy was helpless. Since this is the case, the speaker is no longer needed, there is nothing to say, then, quickly solve you, and then save Robin from CP0. As soon as these words came out, Lucci and the others' faces sank, and they ignored them without mentioning them. Lucci was angry in his heart, and the other 6, Kaku, Jabra, Khalifa, Wanto, Fukuro, and Bluno, also felt ashamed. Although there was a bounty of 1.3 billion Baileys, they were too underestimated. Count them in. You despise us too much. Nyen, although they are great, RCP-9 is not bad. Ignore us, fight later, and let Straw Hat Luffy know how good we are. Maybe there's no chance, even a man has to face Buster Call, and he will be taken down soon. Yes, there is no chance for him to see our strength. Spandam laughed again. Ha ha ha, it sounds like Buster Call has retreated, it's his pity for Buster Call. Now Buster Call refuses to retreat, he is alone, he is going to teach Buster Call a lesson. Ha 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 ha, I'm looking forward to it. Woolen cloth. The Flying Squirrel and the others were also unhappy when they heard it, and their faces were gloomy. Flying Squirrel said solemnly, let me see how you fought against Buster Call alone, you are just a newcomer, a well-known newcomer, not a 4 Emperors, alone against Buster Call arrogant, these are 10 top battleships, 10,000 Marines, and us, even if you are 1.3 billion, it is impossible for you to fight Buster Call alone, let alone repel it. Luffy whispered sternly, Emperor, it will be soon. As for the strength, in front of me, it is useless. The Flying Squirrel and the others were about to say something, but Luffy crushed the horn, and suddenly, the momentum changed, and it suddenly became an incomparable Haki. He raised his head suddenly, his eyes glared furiously, a red light flashed in the depths of his eyes, and Conqueror's Haki suddenly erupted. The originally gloomy sky was suddenly covered with dark red Conqueror's Haki, and the sky and the earth were dark red. Luffy's Conqueror's Haki swept out to the sea in an instant, covering the Buster Call lineup. Bang bang bang. In the next instant, the sound of falling to the ground sounded one after another. The elite Marine, who was constantly fainting, rolled his eyes and fell on the deck. Bang bang bang. The sound of falling to the ground continued, and the elites on each battleship lost their spirited aura, all rolled their eyes and looked up in pain. Flying Squirrel and other 5 Vice Admirals' faces changed greatly, Conqueror's Haki. Know that the Straw Hat has Conqueror's Haki, but it's so scary. Soon, the sound of falling to the ground stopped, and the surroundings became quiet. The 5 Flying Squirrels and the others looked back and saw that on the 10 battleships, not a single Marine elite remained standing, and all of them fainted and fell to the ground. The 10,000 Marine elite troops disappeared in an instant. The Flying Squirrel and the 5 Vice Admiral were terrified. How could it be possible? How could it be? They are all Marine elites. They were shocked by the conquerors in the straw hat. If it's an ordinary sailor, it's no surprise, but they're all elites from Buster Call. It wouldn't be surprising if the red-haired conqueror's haki did this, but his conqueror's haki is so strong. In an instant, the troops were all gone. The Vice Admirals' faces were extremely heavy, which was absolutely unexpected. If there are no troops, who is responsible for firing the artillery is equivalent to no firepower. Robin was stunned, CP9 Lucci and others, as well as Spandam, were all stunned. They stared wide-eyed and opened their mouths, staring blankly at Buster Call in front of the sea, in disbelief. Am I dreaming? How could it be? It's not real. Conqueror's haki stuns 10,000 Marine elites in an instant. It's outrageous. Can you really beat Buster Call alone? They were shaken, horrified, like a dream, unacceptable. The 6 of CP0 were also surprised and unexpected. On the first battleship, the Flying Squirrel and the others had a gloomy expression. Although they were shocked, their fighting spirit remained undiminished. Although the strength and firepower are gone, we still have the strongest force in the naval headquarters. 5 Vice Admiral. Before we fall, Buster Call can't be counted as being defeated by the Straw Hat alone. Yes, leave it to us to deal with him. The bounty of 1.3 billion, although powerful, but the 5 of us, the elite Vice Admiral, joined forces, and he is not able to deal with it. Don't be too shocked. Conqueror's haki just stunned the elite soldiers. Let's see how he can deal with us alone. He means to quickly repel Buster Call without wasting his time, so let's see how he can quickly solve our Buster Call 5 Vice Admiral. At this moment, Luffy suddenly jumped up. Everyone raised their heads and looked at Luffy in the sky. Luffy swept over the battleship where Vice Admiral was sitting, and spoke in awe. Robin! Luffy shouted, causing Robin to raise his head and stare at Luffy in the sky. What should he say to himself? Luffy squeaked, Haki, Robin. You say your enemy is the darkness, so let me light up the darkness. Lucci et al., CP0 et al. Were all startled. They thought it was a bit ridiculous. Light up the darkness. How do you light up the rubber fruit ability? However, in the next instant, as Luffy deploys a new move, Nami et al. Have eyes lit up. Lucci and others, their faces changed greatly. Luffy is above the lead battleship, which makes Flying Squirrel, Burning Mountain, Doberman, Ghost Spider, Stallowberry feel dangerous. They looked up at Luffy above, and all laughed. Is it a target to be in the air like this? Faced with 5 of us, the elite Vice Admiral, they swept up into the sky instead of rushing directly. It seems to be going up and down to attack, but it will only be offset by our attack, or even defeated, and then he becomes a target and is shot down from the air by us. Faced with the 5 of us, he in the air, how to dodge? Although it is powerful, the bounty is 1.3 billion Bailey, but it is too smooth and too hasty. Fight back, knock him down, we'll take the Straw Hat Luffy. However, before the last word of take down was finished, the expression of the Flying Squirrel changed greatly, including the other 4 elite Vice Admiral. They were all panicked and shouted, counterattack. Fight back with all your strength. Flying Squirrel, Burning Mountain, Doberman, Ghost Spider, and Stallowberry all waved the knives in their hands, 17 slashes, and slashed towards Luffy who was high in the sky. The Flying Squirrel, the Fire Burning the Mountain, and the Magic Man are all single swords, and the slashing power is very powerful, while the Ghost Spider has 8 spider-like hands, each holding a knife, and swinging a dazzling slash. Stallowberry held a knife in both hands and slashed with an X slash. In an instant, all kinds of powerful slashes rushed into the sky. So panicked, they went all out to strike, just because the sky above. Luffy said solemnly, I persuaded you to retreat, but if you don't agree, then regret the choice you made. Luffy's next move, which shocked Nami and others, wasn't it a fire fist? They were accidental, and when they heard Luffy say to light up the darkness, they thought of the fire fist. After all, a fire fist can burst into flames. Lucci et al., CP0, and Buster Call 5 Vice Admiral did not know, and thought it was ridiculous that Luffy of Rubber Fruit said to illuminate the dark, but they knew that it could be illuminated. However, I thought it was a fire fist gun, but now it seems that it is obviously not. Luffy's inquiries resumed. Robin, Do you want me to light up the darkness you face? The question resounded throughout the world, and Robin burst into tears, nodded heavily, and shouted, I think it is good. Luffy responded with a sound, and his right hand suddenly became huge. Like a giant's arm, it became pitch black, covering emission. Robin and others are sure that it is not a fire fist gun, but a new move they don't know. Luffy roared suddenly, his eyes widened, his aura reached the peak, his huge right hand suddenly rose up, and all the strength condensed his right hand, ready to blast the Buster Call 5 Vice Admiral on the battleship below from above. Luffy's next punch caught everyone's attention. Emission dances like flowers. The third gear punches into the sky. Like a shooting star, breaks through the night. This punch is to prove the power that can be against the world. This punch is to protect the fetters of the partner until death. This punch is to ignite the fire of hope in Robin's heart. This punch is to illuminate the darkness for Robin, who has been in the dark all the time, but looks forward to the light. From the darkness to the light. On the battleship, Buster Call 5 Vice Admiral only felt a dazzling raging fire and fell from the sky. Break through the darkness. Dispel the haze. Reappear the clear sky. Luffy's huge right hand is covered with fiery flames, surging and illuminating the world. Only heard Luffy growl. Third gear. Karma. Pistol. The giant fist covering the surging karmic fire, fell from the sky and slammed down. I only heard a loud bang in the space, and the flames and clouds cut through the darkness. The infinite momentum is shocking. What about the Buster Call 5 Vice Admiral? Faced with this 3-speed, industry fire pistol, we must all lose. Fall under this punch. Crack crack. All the slashes of the Flying Squirrel 5 Elite Vice Admiral collided with the giant Karma Fist that fell from the sky, and they all collapsed, failing to let the Karma Fist stop at all. Their Elite 5 Vice Admiral slashes, under this punch, are extremely vulnerable. It was too late to fight back again, so the giant fist of karma that descended from the sky instantly came to their heads. The 5 Vice Admirals' eyes widened and contracted in pain. Panic could not help but feel uneasy in their hearts. It is difficult to dodge, and there is no time to counterattack. Even if they counterattack, they will be defeated. All they can do is to defend with all their strength. Iron Body. The unknown elite Vice Admiral shouted in unison, defended with all his strength, and used the iron body of Marine 6 styles to relax a little. However, the giant fist of karma slammed heavily, and Buster called 5 Vice Admiral, all of whom were smashed with dents in their faces, and collapsed with a bang. Boom. Crack. The great karma fist fell, and the whole battleship shattered and sank. The Buster Call 5 Vice Admiral, who was hit by the blast, was all blasted into the sea, with severe pain all over his body, as if his body was about to explode. His mind was roaring, buzzing constantly, his brain was blank for a moment. Even if he defended with all his strength, Buster Call 5 Vice Admiral was instantly severely injured by Luffy's punch, and fell into the sea. As the Karma Huo fist slammed down, circles of flame ripple spread out over the sky, making the sky brighter. Robin stared blankly at the punch, the circles of flames rising into the sky, the bright sky. Robin's eyes were also lit up with light, and the world in his eyes was full of light. Looking at Luffy high in the sky, like the sun, it warmed her heart, illuminated the darkness and brought dawn to her. Luffy. Robin was so moved that tears couldn't stop falling. It used to be worry and grief, and now it is tears of joy. Whoosh. Luffy fell from the sky and landed on the stone pillar he stood before, staring at the front CP0, his voice was low. It's your turn. At this time, CP9 Lucci and others, Spandam, and even the 6 members of CP0, all stayed where they were, horrified. In the scene just now, this industry fire pistol, even Zoro and the others were shocked. Their faces were full of smiles, worthy of being their captains. Chopper's eyes lit up. Luffy, that punch just now is so handsome. Usopp shivered, excited. It's so hot, I got goosebumps all over, so handsome. Luffy, so strong. Nami exclaimed. It's really a short time to beat Buster Call. Luffy, you are stronger than I thought. Zoro smiled. Luffy, it seems that you are more than a little bit better than me. Sanji, cooler, stronger and brighter than the Fire Fist. Luffy's performance, even by those who knew him well, was shocking, too strong. Knowing that Luffy might be able to defeat Buster Call by one person, but I didn't expect such a crush so fast. First, Conqueror's Hockey stuns all Marine elites, and then a 3-speed Karma pistol defeats Buster Call 5 Vice Admiral, too strong. Nami and the others were proud and excited, while CP9 and CP0 on the opposite side were unbelievable, horrified, and their faces became heavy. Buster Call, just defeated. Although there are still battleships, they are useless. So fast, so strong, one person beat Buster Call. It really illuminates the darkness, the dark clouds have completely dissipated, the sky is clear, and it is no longer oppressive. Why? Why is this? Why does the attack burst into flames? It's obviously a rubber fruit. I don't understand, I can't figure out why rubber fruit burst into flames. It doesn't look like it rubs against the air and catches fire. I've heard of fire fist gun. It is in the second gear, not the third gear. The trick is a huge punch, the third gear, the speed is far less than the second gear, but why does it catch fire? It is definitely not friction and fire. Why is that? It's rubber fruit, it can only be caused by friction. They didn't understand at all, their faces were very ugly, and they were all beaten in the face. Buster Call, defeated like that, shocked them greatly by the strength of Straw Hat Luffy, beyond their imagination. Spandam gritted his teeth angrily, looking at Robin whose eyes were full of light. His eyes were no longer dim, but full of hope for the future and yearning for his partner's voyage. This means that Robin believes that he can leave and continue sailing. Do you think you can get away with it? Impossible, let's all die here. Let's do it. Spandam roared, but was kicked away by a CPO member and said contemptuously. You are not qualified to give orders. Although Luffy is strong, and one person defeated Buster Call shocked them, but he must fight, and he can't embarrass the world government. It's strong, but also fun. In this case, they must be strangled, and they cannot continue to grow. Just now, it was really like an emperor. If you continue, you will definitely become the 5th emperor of the sea, and it is even possible to defeat anyone among the 4 emperors and become one of the 4 emperors. With us here, they have no chance, and the end of the journey is at this Enies Lobby. The 6 members of CPO are ready to fight. After being shocked, Lucci said heavily to Fukuro, test their Dao strength and see how much they have achieved, especially the Straw Hat Luffy. Got it, I'll test it. The members of CPO are not ready to do it when they see that they need to measure the force value, then take a look at the force value of the Straw Hat crew. However, let's take a look at their first, how much they have achieved, and they can also shock the Straw Hat crew. Fukuro, with a plump body and a zippered mouth, folds his hands together. 6 style play skills, hand close. Assuming a Navy soldier holding a weapon has a Taoist value of 10, what is your Taoist value? The next moment, Lucci and the others started kicking Fukuro's body one after another. It is necessary to withstand the opponent's blow, so as to judge the strength of the enemy, and infer the Tao strength value of others. Soon, Fukuro found out. Khalifa, Tao strength. Snuggle, 810 strength. Bluno, 820 Tao strength. Jabra, 2180 force. Kaku, 2200 Tao strength. After he arrived, Fukuro became more and more shocked, until the end, his face changed and he was surprised. Lucci, 4000 Tao strength. Fukuro shook, too strong. The other members of CP9 were also surprised, much stronger than they thought. Although Tao strength can reflect a person's combat effectiveness, it cannot completely determine a person's strength, but it can also prove the strength of strength. Lucci is the strongest among them, even a lot stronger. Even CPO members are surprised. As expected of the strongest CP9 in the past 800 years, his strength is not bad. It is called the strongest and most ruthless killing weapon in the history of CP9, and it always needs some strength. You're still young, and if you can temper it, you will definitely be able to enter CP0 in the future, and even put it in CP0, the combat power is a powerful existence. At this moment, Luffy was a little stunned when he heard CP0's words. This will make you react like this, then, you are not as strong as I thought. Hearing this, the 3 surprised members of CP0 all sank. What does this mean? They soon heard that it was them that they mocked and despised. That means, if they act indifferent, it's fine, it's in line with Celestial Dragon's strongest shield, CP0. However, being surprised by Lucci's Tao strength value does not seem to be in line with their identities. This remark made CPO angry, and even made Lucci angry. However, without taking action directly, Lucci's voice was low. Straw Hat, you may be stronger than me, but if you don't, you can despise me. Come, let me see how much your Tao strength is, how much higher than mine. It will make you have a delusion that I can't compare to you. Luffy wanted to take a look too, and nodded casually, come on. Fukuro jumped directly into the air like a balloon, not worried about being beaten to death. In this state, he was very strong and his body was like a very elastic balloon. Luffy jumped up. The whole body was filled with red steam, entered the second gear, and the arms stretched straight to the sky, covering the pitch-black armament Haki. The flames surged, and the sky lit up again. Lucci and the others knew that this was a fire fist gun. Rubber fruit, but has so many fire attack moves. Fire fist, gun, pipe exclamation mark quote. Boom. A punch came down suddenly and quickly. Fukuru's body was hit, and the place where the stomach was hit suddenly dented. Luffy's fist seemed to pierce Fukuru's stomach and hit the inside of his stomach. Fukuro only felt the blood surging. The pain hit him, he opened his mouth wide, and the blood was mixed with broken internal organs and sprayed. Boom. Fukuru's body was instantly deflated, like a hot air balloon being punctured, and suddenly smashed to the ground with a roar, and the entire Enies Lobby was turbulent. Fukuro, Kaku and the others exclaimed, looking at Fukuro, who was motionless in the deep pit, bleeding from the corners of his mouth, and extremely miserable. They have an uneasy feeling that they won't. Lucci frowned and asked, how much is his Tao strength? Fukuro was dying, and his consciousness was about to collapse. Lucci shouted, even if you die, you must say it before you die. Lucci is indifferent, even if his companions die, he doesn't care, it's worth dying to die, at least he should tell the value of the straw hat. Fukuro was frightened, and desperate. He didn't expect that he would not be able to bear it, and even was about to die. Listening to Lucci's shout, Fukuro tried his best not to close his eyes and let himself feel it. Suddenly, his eyes widened and he was terrified. At the same time, such an expression can be displayed, and it is also a return to light. Looking at the terrified Fukuro, Lucci and others knew that Fukuro already knew, and the value was very high. Even the 6 people in CP0, and the 2 groups of captains this time, are very curious and want to know. Lucci shouted, come on. He didn't want to let Fukuro ink, because he was about to die, and he had to say it before he died, so that they could know about the strength of the straw hat. Fukuro was dying and said weakly, his Tao strength is, yes. However, when he was about to say the numerical value, Fukuru's head tilted, and he died. Hateful. This made Lucci and others angry, but they still couldn't say it. Luffy fell on the top of the stone pillar and regretted, I am also curious about the value of Tao force. In this way, Zoro, Sanji, etc.'s Tao strength value cannot be measured. CPO members are no longer interested, and are ready to start, and some are ready to use the fruit ability. CP0, there are those with strong physical skills, those who are not capable, and those who are capable. Most of them are powerful zone. Now, they are ready to do it. They are bound to succeed. Since Straw Hat Crew interferes, Nico Robin and Straw Hat Crew must win the blueprints. Buster Call failed, it was up to them. Just when the CPO was about to start, Lucci took a step forward and was angry. The contempt just now made him angry, and he wanted to know the power value of the Straw Hat to see if he had the qualification to despise him. After all, he was the strongest CP9 in 800 years, and his anger was hard to suppress when he was so despised. Let me try to play against him first, but I want to see how much better he can be than me, whether it is arrogance or self-confidence. Listening to Lucci's firm tone, CP0 did not do anything. Okay, I'll let you fight him. Your strength is not weak, although he is strong, but not like that Fukuro. Let's see the strongest of CP9 in 800 years. I can understand your mood, then let out your anger, show your strength to Straw Hat Luffy, and let him know that it is wrong to despise you. Even if he is stronger than you, if he wants to beat you, the Straw Hat must enter a stronger form. Knowing that he has a second gear, a third gear, Lucci, go all out and see if he has a stronger form. For example, fourth gear. This is the calculation of CP0. I feel that the strongest form will be called the fourth gear. They also knew that the Straw Hats never gave their all, whether it was the battle at Sky Island or Admiral Aokiji. When facing Aokiji, Straw Hat didn't move. Defeating Crocodile was also a failure. Therefore, as for the strength of Straw Hat crew, if the world government and Marine were the least aware of whose strength, it would be Straw Hat Luffy. Therefore, in this battle, they must look at the full strength of the Straw Hat, and there must be a stronger form. Lu Chi nodded. This is inevitable. This is the goal in Lu Chi's heart. Luffy, who is younger than him, is stronger than him, which makes him unbalanced. However, even if he is strong, he can't be too strong. Even if he can't beat him, he must force the Straw Hat to use his full strength. Luffy said, "In this fight, I'll be in 4th gear." This shocked CP9, CP0 and others. As they thought, sure enough, in addition to the 2nd and 3rd gears, there is a stronger form called the 4th gear. Robin is also a Rin, a stronger form. The 2nd gear and the 3rd gear are all very strong. How strong will it be when entering the 4th gear? Nami, Zoro and others were also shocked. They also didn't know that Luffy still had 4th gear, and he was even a master. For Luffy's full strength, they are also unclear and curious. Hearing Luffy say that this battle is going to be in 4th gear, they are naturally looking forward to it. What will it look like? What kind of strength? Luffy thought to himself, this battle must be serious. After all, there are 6 combat powers of CP0. Even if the strength is uneven, but among the 6, there must be high combat power, and it will not be much worse than Admiral. Therefore, in order to succeed in this battle and leave with Robin, it is necessary to open the 4th gear. But, Luffy looked at Lu Chi and corrected, "But, instead of fighting with you, I have to drive 4th gear, but with them." Asshole. Luffy's words made Lu Chi break the defense and yelled in anger. At the same time, the body swelled, and the black suit on his body was broken. It can be seen that Lu Chi's body continued to expand, the outline of his muscles was clear, and his body was covered with leopard fur. Soon, Lu Chi entered the human beast form, like a human-shaped leopard. He is Zone, cat fruit, panther form. He was already angry because of contempt. Luffy's words made him furious. I thought it meant fighting with myself, but it wasn't. After the transformation, Lu Chi's aura was still improving, and his swollen body suddenly shrank. To be precise, his muscles and bones were tightening and contracting. Soon, although it was still in the form of a human beast, it was the same size as the human form just now. Immediately, his aura reached its peak, directly entering his strongest form, the human beast form, plus the return of life. If you dare to despise me like this, I will let you see my full strength. You don't plan to drive 4th gear. Then, regret it. In Lu Chi's view, either he didn't open it, he was beaten by himself, and he regretted it. Either slap yourself in the face and open the 4th gear. No matter which of these two, he must do one. Lu Chi entered the strongest form, and was directly the strongest blow, and did not intend to ink. Luffy's hands blew huge air, turned pitch black, and suddenly stretched back, pulling back his huge fists and slamming them forward. Guo Moruo, Grizzly Gun. Seeing the huge fists slamming in, Lu Chi's fists also slammed forward with terrifying power. 6 styles, the biggest round of the 6 king guns. Lu Chi used the most powerful attack, but in the face of Luffy, this was not a full-strength attack, and he felt the pressure in his heart. I feel the pressure like this, let's not force him to drive 4th gear. Lu Chi didn't want to admit that he felt the pressure now, so he roared and slammed his fists out. Boom, boom. The 4 fists collided with great disparity, and a brief stalemate swept through the power ripples, and the surrounding buildings collapsed. The other members of CP9 were all shaken out. What a strong aftermath. How strong is the attack? If I face it, I'm afraid it will be solved by one move. Even if Lu Chi is not the opponent of the Straw Hat, I believe that he can force the Straw Hat to open the 4th gear, which is a victory. However, in the next instant, their expressions changed. After the collision, there was a brief stalemate. No matter how Lu Chi roared and exploded his strength, he couldn't move forward. Moreover, he was constantly retreating, feeling the terrifying power coming, and constantly crushing his power. After a short stalemate, his strongest attack power completely collapsed, unbearable, and a huge black fist slammed on him. Lu Chi's whole body was in extreme pain, blood spurted out, his eyes were cracked, and he was in extreme pain. Whoosh! Lucci was blasted out like a cannonball, smashed into the wall of the high-rise building, and directly smashed a deep depression. Lucci vomited blood, and felt that his whole body was about to fall apart. It was too painful. Sliding to the ground, Lucci was about to fall to the ground, but he insisted on clenching his teeth. I can't just fall down like this. The strongest me in CP9's 800 years can't be defeated by a single blow from the Straw Hat. That's too shameful. Even if he can't beat the Straw Hat, he can't be defeated in seconds. This is absolutely not allowed by him. Lucci gritted his teeth and insisted. His face was bloody and his whole body was injured, but when was about to fall, he knelt down on one knee, then stood up with difficulty and walked towards Luffy step by step. You must be forced to do your best. Luffy's hands returned to their original shape, and Lucci stepped forward and said solemnly, "Are you going to use fourth gear?" With a puff, Luffy's complexion turned red, and the steam filled the air. Luffy shook his head. No, it's second gear. Hateful. This made Lucci angry, panting, vomiting blood, and he didn't know whether it was because of his anger, serious injuries, or both. 6 styles, finger pistol. Huang Lien. Lucci stretched out his hands, just stretched out an index finger each, and suddenly stabbed forward at a very fast speed, like a machine gun in an instant, densely packed with high-frequency attacks. However, Luffy did not retreat, but walked towards Lucci. Such high-frequency attacks were all dodged by Luffy. ... Lucci was stunned, his eyes widened and his pupils contracted. It was clearly in front of him, and he was still walking towards him, getting closer and closer, but his dense attacks like machine guns didn't touch the substance. Luffy dodged. Just a slight movement of the body, all escaped. How is it possible? CP9 was even more horrified, couldn't believe it, and kept rubbing his eyes. Am I blinded? All escaped. How could it be possible to avoid such a close, fast attack with such a high frequency? However, with the second gear and Luffy's powerful observation haki, it is also easy to evade the fastest high-frequency attack of this powerful Luffy. CPO members are shocked. After the shock, his face became heavy. As expected of 1.3 billion. Very strong, his own speed is fast, and observation haki is more superb. Who taught his haki, taijutsu? I don't know, I didn't find out at all, including Straw Hat Crew and others, and I didn't find out who their teacher was. It's a mystery that we can't find CP0. Seeing that the Straw Hat is stronger, makes us more determined to arrest him in this battle. Kill the Straw Hat Crew. As Luffy went straight forward, and was about to be close at hand, Lucci was uneasy, gave up the attack, and quickly retreated. However, when he moved quickly, the figure of Luffy, where he was standing just now, disappeared from his sight. This made Lucci's heart startled, uneasy, looking for it quickly, his face changed, and he was on his right side. The moment he turned around, Luffy's attack was ready to go. ... Lucci's eyes widened, his face was ugly, and his heart was heavy. I can't hide. He couldn't dodge, and he didn't have time to fight back, but Lucci did not despair. In the strongest state of return of life, he used the strongest defense of the 6th form and snorted lowly. Iron body, rubber jet machine gun. In the second gear, Luffy's fists covered emission, and he bombarded quickly forward with a faster frequency. The fist shadows were densely distributed in the space ahead, and they bombarded Lucci in an instant. Lucci was hit, and in an instant, he felt that it was not a pair of fists hitting him, but hundreds of fists hitting every part of his body at the same time. Sunken. Iron body, useless at all. What? Lucci screamed. The injury was already serious, and now, in a short period of time, the whole body is in severe pain, scarred, the face is constantly sunken, and the mouth, nose, eyes, and blood are constantly spraying. Boom. After the last blow, Luffy stopped attacking, and Lucci flew backwards again. Boom. Click. Booming on the wall of the high-rise building. This time, instead of smashing a depression, it directly penetrated the thick wall, rolled his eyes, and Lucci, who did not know his life or death, fell into the sea. With a thud, it fell into the sea. The wall was smashed into a depression just now, because Lucci was in his prime, and his strongest attack offset part of the Grizzly Gun's power, and this time, it was completely withstanding the second gear combined with emission's high-frequency bombardment. Lucci. The complexion of the members of CP9 changed greatly. Lucci was defeated like this, and his life and death are unknown, and the severity of the injury can be imagined. And, what was horrifying was that the Straw Hat only attacked twice, and Lucci suffered a crushing defeat. Even, the Straw Hat is not the strongest state. The gap is too big. Such differences are normal. The original plot, the Enies Lobby battle, was extremely difficult. Luffy could defeat Lucci, not because his strength was above Lucci, but his willpower. But now Luffy, it's very easy to defeat Lucci who can't hockey, there is a big gap between the two. The 6 members of CPO raised their eyebrows, knowing that the next battle would be very difficult. But, even so, it must be successful. Although CP9 is the strongest in the past 800 years, it is too reluctant to deal with the strength of the Straw Hat. Yeah, so, we still have to deal with it. The mighty strength, the mighty hockey, who even emission, his teacher, is. Don't think about it, seeing his strength, my blood is boiling, although it is a newcomer, it is worth our efforts. Just let him warm up first, after all, we have to face the 6 powerful combat powers of our CPO. The 6 CPOs took off their white capes, and in white suits, they were imposing and ready to fight. Swoosh swish. At the same time, other members of CP9 youth shaved and are also ready to fight. Finally it's time to start. Zoro couldn't wait, his hand on the knife tightened. Sanji puffed out the smoke. Miss Nami, I will defeat them now and leave together. Usopp slingshot moves among the 6 combat powers of CP0, who am I looking for as an opponent? They can't wait for a long time. Next, it's the battle between CP0 and the Straw Hats, and it's no longer Luffy's solo show. Luffy arranged. Chopper, the remaining 6 of CP9, you will solve it. Okay, Luffy. Chopper nodded obediently. CP9's Kaku, Jabra and the other 6 looked over, their faces were ugly and angry. Because their opponent is a little reindeer. Although he knew that it was a ship doctor and that there was a bounty of 300 million Bailey, but let this reindeer solve the 6 of them. Who should I look down on? That's why they're angry, they despise them too much. It's not the 3 main battle strengths of the Straw Hats, but to let him only deal with the 6 of us, it's too contempt for us. Yeah, it's arrogant. Then let him see our strength. To deal with the 6 of us, 1 ship doctor is not enough, at least 1 navigator. We are not one of their opponents, but one of the 6 is not the main force, can't we beat it? Definitely beaten, and that's fine, let's deal with their ship doctor first. However, in the next instant, their faces changed in shock, their eyes widened and their pupils contracted. Hearing a low growl, Chopper suddenly turned into a human beast form, tall and burly, full of violent muscles with clear outlines. And in an instant, the whole body was pitch black, and every part of the body was covered with armament hockey. In an instant, the aura was extremely terrifying. It was no longer a cute little reindeer that was harmless to humans and animals, but a terrifying beast. Whoosh! Chopper swooped in front of them in an instant, it made them vibrate, shaved, and much faster than them, who taught that? In an instant, the 6 of them, CP9, faced one Chopper. They lost their confidence, their bodies trembled subconsciously, they felt a heavy sense of oppression, and their hearts were depressed. This scene made CPO more determined after seeing it. The Straw Hats are too powerful, they must be killed, and they cannot continue to grow. 3 figures came, Zoro, Sanji, and Nami. The knife in Zoro's hand was pitch black, Sanji's right foot was on fire, and the weather rod in Nami's hand was covered in pitch black armament hockey. On the stone pillar, Usopp did not move, but drew his bow. In an instant, the Straw Hat crew were all ready to fight. The momentum that everyone exudes is very strong. Once again, CP0's 6 powers have the same idea as Aokiji. They face it like an imperial regiment. Straw Hat, like the 5th Emperor. The other members of the Straw Hat Corps are like the cadres of the Imperial Corps. CPO 6 Captain Shen Shang. Don't be careless, go all out, don't treat them as the strongest rookie pirates, treat the Straw Hat Pirates as the 5 Emperors. When the words fell, the 6-member CPO captain walked towards Luffy, his fighting spirit rose, and he said awe-inspiringly. Let's fight, the 5th Emperor of the Sea. Captain CPO should treat Luffy as the 5 Emperors and fight with all his strength. I'm the captain of CP0 6 and 7, Cook. If Admiral Kuzan fails to take you, we will arrest you. The battle is imminent. Zoro, Sanji, each of the 2 CPO members who are second only to Cook. What Zoro faced was also with a knife. Nami and Usopp are dealing with 3 CPO members, and their forces are also at the bottom of CP0. Cook knew that if he wanted to defeat the Straw Hat Pirates, it was mainly up to him. In his opinion, other battles may be evenly matched, so he has to stand up and defeat the Straw Hat first. Knowing Luffy's strength, treated as the 5 emperors, so Cook is naturally serious battle. The fur on his body is the fur of a tiger, the animal system, and the form of a tiger. The aura is stronger than the leopard form Lucci just now, and at the same time the whole body is covered with armament haki. On the forehead, there is a king character. Cook's fighting spirit rose. I haven't been active for a long time, let's start. As a protection for celestial dragons, he has hardly encountered any enemies, let alone strong ones. So, very Luffy's fight, Cook is also looking forward to. When the words fell, Cook started directly. After all, it is best to complete the task as soon as possible, and have to go back to Mariajoy. The 5 elders and celestial dragons don't have much time to go out, and if they go back too late, they will be punished. The main thing is, cause the wrath of celestial dragons, it's not good. Finger pistol, Huang Lien. Swoosh swish, black finger shadows spread all over the front, stabbing forward quickly. Luffy fired his fists like a machine gun, like countless black cannonballs. Rubber eagle guns. Bang bang bang. The attacks of the 2 sides kept colliding, and at the moment of the collision, Luffy knew that the Cook in front of him was not comparable to Lucci. Both strength and haki are strong. This made Luffy's blood boil. That's what he wanted. Although he didn't know this guy, he just had to be strong. The battle has always been too easy, and even if they met Enel, they didn't take much effort to defeat him. And Luffy felt that this Cook, at the very least, had the strength close to Admiral, and could make him have a good time. After a minute of confrontation, both of them backed away. Cook said solemnly, "Don't you open the 4th gear. Let me see what the 4th gear looks like." He was curious, and the 2nd gear was red and steam-filled. The 3rd gear is the body of the limbs and other large, powerful type. So what will the 4th gear change? Luffy said, "You haven't entered your strongest form yet." This made Cook unhappy, and he only used the strongest form after defeating the 4th grade Straw Hat. "Since you don't drive 4th gear, then I will beat you in this form." Meaning, if you don't open the 4th gear, then you won't have the chance to open it, and you will be defeated by him in this form. Supersonic, shave. Cook flashed suddenly, supersonic speed, and even made a bang-bang sonic boom as he moved. As the leader of the CP0 team, naturally the master has a stronger 6 forms and stronger physical skills. While moving quickly, the pitch-black tiger palm slammed into Luffy's back center. In his opinion, his physical skills are strong, and the 6th form is powerful. Although it is not as good as the Garp of the 6th form ultimate, it is not too bad. What's more, in his zone tiger form, his strength is extremely strong, with speed and strength, and with haki, this slap, he thinks it can hit Luffy hard. A palm shot out, however, it was missed. Luffy turned sideways, appeared to his left side, and his fists blasted out like cannonballs. Rubber Eagle Bazooka. Cook didn't have time to dodge at all, it was too fast, and it was too early. Boom! The terrifying double fists bombarded his waist and flew out to the side. Even if armament haki and iron body double defense, it was a severe pain. With a roar, Cook was smashed into the air, pierced through the wall, and flew out. When it fell to the ground, Cook was shaken. How could it be? Supersonic shave, can escape unexpectedly. Is observation haki so strong? Wrong. Cook realized that he did not escape, and even if he could escape, he would not be able to attack himself moving at supersonic speed. That way, when you dodge, you have to know where you are. And when Luffy turned sideways, he didn't look at himself. So, why? I thought it was a reaction, observation haki, plus my own speed, but I felt that even so, it was impossible to counterattack me who was moving at supersonic speed with precision. So, is it? Realizing what? Cook's face changed greatly, even his eyes widened and his pupils shrank, unbelievable and shocked. Could it be that, seeing the short future, observation haki is strong enough to foresee the short future? Thinking of this, Cook's face instantly became heavy. He has never been able to achieve such a sight, even in his entire life, but the Straw Hat has actually achieved it. Cook's face was ugly. In this case, it will be tricky. Whoosh! In an instant, Luffy swept above Cook, and a huge black fist slammed down. Rubber Thor. Knowing that this move is very powerful, Cook did not dare to be careless. 6 king guns. Both hands slammed together, and terrifying power erupted. Boom! The two terrifying forces collided, the force swept through, the surrounding buildings collapsed, and the sea soldiers in the distance were blown out and screamed. The ground around Cook was sunken, and a large pit appeared. Although the ground under his feet was intact, it was cracking. Cook's legs were shaking, his knees were gradually bending, and Luffy above was roaring with strength, constantly pounding. Cook's arms bulged and pushed up, but his arms were constantly sinking under pressure. With a roar, Cook was smashed to the ground and his body was in pain. Luffy closed his punches, ready to attack again, and Cook moved away in supersonic speed. Cook was a little embarrassed, wiped bloodline at the corner of his mouth, and his face twitched in pain. Cook knew that it was impossible for him to defeat Straw Hat Luffy, he could only do his best. Soon, Cook was the same as Lucci just now, his body was tight and shrunk. Although he was still in the form of a beast, he became the human body just now. Strength, speed, defense, etc. are stronger. Cook said solemnly, "I have used the strongest form, it's your turn." Cook's heart was very heavy. He was confident that this mission would be successful, but after seeing the strength of the Straw Hat, he observed the battle around him, and it was not good. So, it is likely to fail. This is why his heart is heavy. It would be a shame if CP9, Buster Call, and CP0 all failed. But now it seems that they don't have an advantage. They may not be able to win the Straw Hats. Unless an admiral comes, they will definitely be able to win the Straw Hats. However, it is obviously impossible, and it is impossible for them to have the cheek to ask for support. Naval headquarters is impossible to support. After all, Red Hair and Whitebeard are about to meet, and it is already known that Red Hair Pirates is sailing towards Whitebeard's territory. As for the world government, it is even more impossible. Request to send CP0 for stronger combat support. Not to mention whether the 5 elders will yell, celestial dragons will definitely go berserk. After returning, they may even be executed. After all, they feel that they are useless. Therefore, support is impossible. So, support is not enough, and it is very difficult to take down the Straw Hats, so what can be done? The only thing that can be done, meaningfully, is to completely remove the Straw Hat Luffy's full force. Up to now, it is not clear, so after this battle, it must be clear, so it is necessary to let Straw Hat Luffy fight with his full strength. But Luffy shook his head. First, try not to enter the 4th gear. Can you solve it? If you can, there is no need, let me have a good fight. If you can, open the 4th gear, otherwise, open the 4th gear, too. It's not fun when it's over. This remark made Cook extremely angry, which means that he must first see if he is qualified to let Luffy drive 4th gear. I really underestimate me. Although I'm not the strongest in CP0, I'm still among the best. I'll let you suffer first. Cook doesn't care, in this case, just wait to be traumatized by himself. Use shave, move faster, swipe in front of Luffy, and use finger pistol Wonglian in the state of life return. 0. Luffy blasted his fist like a machine gun, and the two clashed again at high frequency, and the battle was fierce. And just like that, the fierce battle continued. At the same time, Zoro and the others continue to fight, but the most intense one is the fight between Luffy and Cook. Because, even if other CPOs are strong, they are still a bit far behind Zoro and Sanji. Sanji hasn't used the Magic God's wind feat, and Zoro has not gone all out, and already has a slight advantage, which is why Cook is so heavy, because he has seen the situation clearly. This battle cannot be successful. Cook faced Luffy just now and fell into a disadvantage, but now in full strength, Cook has a slight advantage in strength, speed, and defense. Luffy doesn't open 4th gear, and it's a little bit laborious, but it's okay, you can continue to fight for a while, and you can get tempered by fighting under pressure. After training, open the 4th gear. That's it, fight against the strong all the way, progress and improve all the way, and use the strong enemy as a sparring partner. Cook had the advantage and shouted at the same time, you go all out. Even if you lose, you must force them to use all your strength. You can't win them in this battle, and you must know the true combat power of everyone in the Straw Hats. Yes, other CP0s also understand, that's all. CP9's face sank, and CP0 felt that they could not succeed, and they became even more depressed. Kaku and the 6 of them faced Chopper and found that it was very difficult to join forces. This reindeer was too strong. The fruit is well developed and very strong, and the physical skills and hockey are also very strong. Kaku was horrified. Who is your teacher? He is envious of why he has such a good teacher. Chopper said, I have 2 teachers, one is Mr. Kai, and the other is not to be said. Indeed, a Kaido, a Garp naturally can't say. Mr. K. They were astonished and wondered, who is it? Soon, the 6 of CP9 were beaten by Chopper, leaving only Kaku, Jabra, and Blueno still standing, and the others were seriously injured and fell down. At this point, after Luffy and Cook had a fierce battle, he felt that it was okay. After the collision, they backed away, and Cook froze, feeling that the Straw Hat Luffy's momentum was rising. Luffy's left arm was crossed in front of him, and he suddenly bit his arm, which made Cook startled. What to do? The heart was shocked, and the moment was dignified. Is it too? Apparently, Luffy is going to 4th gear. Stretch man. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.